Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. All right, listening to Elvin. Let me get you a link for her music. You can find it over on Spotify and on YouTube. Da, 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 da. All right. Hello, hello, hello. Today is going to be a great conversation, I'm sure. Da, da, da. All right, I'm going to abruptly stop the music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go. Abrupt stop to music. Okay. Today's episode, we're going to go into it, is not meant to demoralize anybody, to invalidate anybody's experience. It is not meant to disqualify anyone from identifying a particular way. Instead, I think I just want to talk about the nuance in queer bubbles and talk about how we might all be in a queer LGBTQIA bubble, but we don't operate the same, share the same beliefs, and we almost have like subcultures within our culture, which we know, right? We know. But sometimes people forget. Okay, now I've got a bunch of TikToks to watch. And then at the end, we're going to explore a longer form of content from Becca Moore, who you guys asked me to check into the story because we covered her breakup from her girlfriend. Allegedly, the internet said it was because she wanted biological kids. Who knows what that means, right? Oh, did I spell her name wrong in the title? I put More, M-O-R-E, but I think it's M-O-R-E. Is it two O's? Either way, let me fix that. We are going to, is it More? More. Yeah, that makes more sense that would be her last name. Let me double check. Yeah, M-O-R-E, sorry. So, we're going to end listening to her explain her side of it because I do think that it brought a lot of controversy to the queer communities, gay communities, bisexual communities, lesbian communities, where people really felt like, here's another bisexual girl picking a man because it's easier. Listen, if you've watched my content, you know I've struggled my whole life with labels. You know, I've always struggled to know how to identify myself because I never feel like I perfectly fit anywhere. Even when I identified as a lesbian many years ago, I knew in my heart of hearts, like that was going to change. I knew in my heart of hearts, like everything about me would change. I just didn't know. And I didn't have the language to express it. And I think as a very curious person who tends to understand that labels are constructs and they don't represent truth, they represent momentary truth. It's hard for me to always feel my identity is wrapped up in these labels. But the truth is, I also love a good label. I love a good label. So currently I go by pansexual. I think that's more accurate. My pronouns are she, her, man. And I think that when we're exploring identities, I personally am open to the fluidity of it, but I can see how other people really need it to be black and white. And remember, when we think about lesbian, when we think about this conversation about whether lesbians should have to feel bad for not dating bisexual people, remember that comes from a place. It isn't just a choice you made. And the question is where does that choice come from? So let's explore it today. I have plenty to say, but let's let some other people talk about it first. And to start us off, I just want to give us a small reminder, unrelated to the main topic, but related to the concept we're going to explore today, that we do not all share perspectives, bubbles, cultural understandings, that we're all coming from our own version of trauma, genetics, our parents, all of it is we are all impacted. I think you can introspect your way into figuring out who you are outside of these constructs. But obviously, we need a reminder that we aren't all raised the same. So look at this new little bubble pop I had today. Girls, look at this TikToker, okay? Oop, hold on, no music needed. It said, apparently not everyone has the habit of placing their pajamas under their pillow until it's time to go to bed. It's cultural. What? Apparently, not everyone has the habit of placing their pajamas under the pillow until it's time to go to bed. It's cultural. Never in my life have I done this. Never in my life have I put my PJs under my pillow. I don't know one soul who does this, and I love that I just learned this. What? I'm not going to do it because I don't understand it. I just feel like I have a PJ drawer. Like I have a drawer for my PJs, and when they're dirty, I just wash them. But I wear them like because my PJs. First of all, I don't even have PJs. Let's so be for real right now. I don't even own PJs. I just have clothes I wear that are comfy clothes, and then I sleep in boxers. Like I don't even sleep in anything. I just sleep in underwear. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, kind of interesting. Apparently, everybody in this comment section was like, "Yes, girl, this is how I was raised." I love that. Just a new way for us to explore this topic and to remember we're not all raised the same, whether it's dating preferences or PJ preferences, okay? Right? Okay. I see you in chat saying like, I might try that. You know what I mean? You know, I'm just saying if it works, it works, it works. But I just think it's so interesting when we go into life thinking everyone has some sort of overlap or similar existence to us, or everybody needs to act like us, you know? Anyways, okay, a good way to start it off. Here's the main TikTok that I saw from 3 days ago. This is a content creator named, I think it's pronounced Fangs, but maybe I'm being stupid, but it's FQNGS, which sounds like fangs to me, like a fun way to say it, but I'll share their TikTok, her TikTok, in the link in the description and in the in the chat, and you guys can check her out and see if you like her. But she is making a point, and again, this isn't about her, this is about the idea that we're covering. She has the right to her opinion, that's valid. I just want to explore the idea she's covering.
Canceled on this app. Not to get like canceled on this app or anything, but why are there so many bisexuals on this app trying to force lesbians to prefer them? As a lesbian, to prefer another lesbian is to prefer someone who's like with the same mindsets of just censoring men in all ways. You could censor men as a bisexual, however, you're still sleeping with men and still interacting with men in a loving, romantic way. So we will never relate in that sense, ever. And that's okay, like there's okay to be bisexual, it's okay to be a lesbian, but like, why are we telling lesbians, you have to be with us or you're biphobic? That is not correct. It's not true. Not to get like canceled on this app.
Okay, what do we think about that initially? First, I feel like it is centering men in your life if you're not dating bisexual women because they know or date men in their life. Like if we're decentering men in our life, then we shouldn't be doing anything because of them. So I feel like not dating a bisexual woman because she dates a man is still centering men in your life. That's my opinion. Because then it still feels like you're saying that a man is causing your action, that you're doing this because there's a man involved, which for me means centering men in your life. I don't do anything because men, like when I say I'm decentering men in my life, I mean, I don't do anything because man. Like I don't pick and choose my partners because men. I don't pick my friends because man. Like I don't think about men's problems and I don't pay attention to them in the same way that I do on genderqueer people. But men also falls into the category of queer men. So bisexual, pansexual men, I care about those men. When I talk about decentering men, I think I'm talking about specifically like straight heterosexual men who, you know, will pick their happiness at the expense of everybody else when it's not even real happiness. It's just a cope. So I'm very confused at the idea of like decentering men, but also only doing this X action because men. So I'm a little confused, I think. What do you guys think? Chat says, so she doesn't want to be with bisexuals because of men. Is this kind of centering men? Question mark. I don't get it. Yeah. Sounds like centering men to me. Chat says, I remember when we talked about preference a while back, it feels like ignoring who a person is because of who they sleep with. Yeah, Chet says, I think it's fine to have preferences, but it feels weird to me to discard a whole group of people from your dating pool, and I'm a lesbian. I don't think about men when engaging with women. Chet says, is centering different from opting out, like a different energy, different? Yeah, I think there's some conversation to be had about overlap of... Okay, this is my dating requirement when I date women. And again, I think we have to be very careful here, because I do believe in gender fluidity. I do believe in non-binary people. I do believe in the right of, like, I believe in trans people. I believe like you exist. I don't have to believe it. I know it because you exist. You're in front of me, right? So it's not even a belief. It's just like, it's there, right? I see you. I think I have to be cautious. So when talking about this because we're all coming from different perspectives. But the only requirement I ever had when dating women is that you could never, I wouldn't date women who couldn't imagine living without a man. In the same way that I think some women, we saw this with Britney, who I loved in Love is Blind this season. Britney kept saying she can't see herself with a woman. I think there's something there to be explored. Not my business, not my journey, but I couldn't date Britney because Britney can't see herself living without a man. Britney isn't a viable partner for me to have, because if we got married, are you saying you'd always be missing that man? Like, I don't think about other genders when I'm with my partner. I'm thinking about their consciousness. And people ask me that too. Like, do you ever miss being with X gender? It's like, no, I'm pansexual. Like, I used to, when I was going through my gender journey, I would worry that I would miss people's gender. But that whole idea to me as I get older is just silly as I get older, personally. And I also think we have to be careful about making heterosexual presenting couples declare their genders out loud, because we still live in a transphobic world. And it's really dangerous for us to force our partners to come out with their identities in detail, because people need to decide if they validate you as a part of the community. Like, I really think it's dangerous to assume that heterosexual presenting couples that there's not a trans partner involved, or there's not a gay partner involved, or there's not, like, I think we should be cautious of demanding people show up the way that we need them to declare them like valid. But I also think it's okay to internally have conflict, because it's a conflicting thing, you know? Discord said, okay, literally typed about this last night. I'm having a hard time with this because usually it is biphobia. But what if a queer person, I only want to date other queer people? Oh, what if as a queer person, I only want to date other queer people? Is that also bad? I think this why tells me if their view's bigoted or not. Right. I think, like, even queerness, like, I don't think I could never end up with like a gay person. I would have to end up with a queer person. Right. Like, I can't just end up with a liberal person. I'm going to need you to be progressive. You know, I can't just end up with, I'm going to need you to be on that other path with me. And I think that also plays a role in this, where, like, Cat Black talks about this all the time, because Cat Black is straight, but she often gets pushed into like queer labels. But she makes it a point to say, like, she's not queer, but I think she would say she's probably politically queer. I would have to ask her opinion on that. But even labeling Cat, because Cat's trans, people automatically assume she's like bisexual or something when she's literally not. So there's something to be said about that, as well as, like, sometimes I think we don't even know how to view queerness, and then queerness in the political sense versus like queerness in the gay sense. Like, I don't want to end up with somebody who has a basic understanding of their own oppression, or a basic understanding of their own place in the universe. I need somebody with an advanced degree and the way they present in the universe. But that's a preference to me. A preference to me is saying, I need you to be X educated on like this deconstruction, this bubble, this expectation of the script. I feel like when lesbians say, I want to be with other lesbians because they've had my shared journey, what about Chappell Roan? What about Chappell Roan? Because Chappell Roan's a lesbian, but she dated men until recently. What about late coming out lesbians? Like, they're not going to have the shared relationship. So it's not about dating bi girls. It's not even about dating lesbians. It's about dating somebody who decenters men in the way that you do, which is not just going to be lesbians. There are going to be lots of lesbians, you know, who don't qualify in this way, and they're going to be a lesbian, you know? Yeah, chat says, then we get into the gold star lesbian, which is exactly what, yes, girl, that's where my brain was going. Ariel Scarcella comes up now. Now we've got the lesbians who are like, I'm a gold star lesbian. I've never been with a penis. It's like, okay. And then now all of a sudden we're dealing with transphobia. Now all of a sudden we've got transphobia you know what I'm saying? So when we talk about truly deconstructing these bubbles, and look, this is where I am in my journey. I just don't think any of this matters except for the bubble that it matters to. And so you have to decide if it matters. And if it matters, that's valid. But I don't think it's objective. And I do think it's subjective, but I think it's fair for bisexual queer people to feel like, to question if you're really decentering men after all, if you won't date them. And it's okay for lesbians to question if bisexuals are decentering men and they can really be with, you know, I get it. It's all valid, right? hold on. This made me think of two other things. I'm going to show you a clip really fast, get back into the conversation, but there was another thing. Oh shoot, I lost it. Okay, look at this. This is, do you remember when Chimamanda made that really intense statement about trans women being trans women? And I remember Kat Black replied to this. I couldn't find the clip. I was trying to look for it, but I couldn't find it. But here, listen to this clip, and just for a refresher, and then I'll explain why I think it relates.
So when people talk about, are trans women women, my feeling is trans women are trans women. I think the whole problem of gender in the world is about our experiences. It's not about how we wear our hair or whether we have a vagina or a penis. It's about the way the world treats us. And I think if you've lived in the world as a man, with the privileges that the world accords to men, and then sort of switch gender, it's difficult for me to accept that then we can equate your experience with the experience of a woman who has lived from the beginning in the world as a woman and who has not been accorded those privileges that men are. And so,
okay, this was like very controversial at the time. And Kat made a video, and I don't know if she took it down because I just could not find it. But Kat was basically explaining that though this can be true for some trans women's experiences, she transitioned as a teenager. So she was never a man. I mean, she was never a man literally, because, right? Like there's two thoughts of there's two trans thoughts here we can talk about. Trans people who think they go from one gender to another, and trans people who think they never switch genders, they only change the way they present. So depending on how you believe in trans existence, I don't think how you present is your identity. I think that's a part of it, but I don't think it's true for all people. So Kat was never a boy, but when Kat presented as a boy in the world, she never then benefited from being presented or perceived as a man, because she never was one. She never reaped those benefits. And so from what my recollection of her point in her video was to say, being a trans woman isn't a monolithic experience in the same way that I don't think being bisexual is a monolithic experience. Being pansexual is not a monolithic experience. I think we all go through the phase of like, oh, it might be easier to date a man, or it might be easier to do this. I have a whole podcast about how if I was going to stay in my family bubble and I was going to buy a house near them, then it would be almost like painful to have a female partner, because my female partner wouldn't be able to reap the benefits of having that community. And then because I actually fell in love, and hear me out when I say this, when you're dating somebody, I think it is when you're dating somebody, okay, hold on. This is very complicated, but I think when you're at a place in your life where your community, the people you do feel the closest to, are like your blood relatives and they happen to be homophobic, whether you like it or not, like chosen family is great, but I don't think you can just choose family. I think like it has to be like in the stars in a sense, because whether they're blood related or not, you still have to choose like these really special people. I think it's like soulmatey, but family. Soulmatey, but chosen family is real. I have chosen family, but I have like a few chosen family. Everyone else who's come into my life is beautiful and I love them, but it's not the same. And we can't always build communities around those people. So when we build a community, we do think about who we're seeing on the weekends. And sometimes that can feel like a pressure between picking our joy in our social and joy at home, right? So I even went through a stage where I was like, well, if I pick somebody, I want them, because it's choice at the end of the day, I want them to feel like they have a community, and I can't offer a community to a female person or, a particular expression of person. It's very complicated. But when I actually fell in love with my person and I found my high compatibility partner, all the rules went out the window, because I realized like, oh, for me personally, all the rules went out the window, because like, this is my family now. Like, I was my family. And I do think that if my partner died, God forbid, I would go back to being in my bubble. I wouldn't go back to my family's bubble at all. But at that time, like, that was like the greatest space for me. I really loved my time with my family. But also it was hard to manage that social script a lot. And now that I'm with my partner, all the rules are out the window. And that includes like socializing with my family. Like, I don't really need to do that on their terms. But when I was single, you usually do socialize with people on their terms, because that's just how it works out, you know, especially if you're a single auntie and you're hanging out with the nieces and nephews, you tend to socialize with people on their own terms. And now that I'm socializing on completely my own terms, and I don't think I'll ever go back to doing otherwise, it means that there's a shift I didn't have available to me yet. So sometimes when I hear these lesbians say they won't date bisexuals, I wonder if they know that, I wonder if they even realize there's a tool that they don't have yet. And the same way I didn't know there wasn't a tool I didn't have yet. Like I didn't realize, because it wasn't an embodied experience yet, that I could literally do something in such an independent way without sacrificing any of the healing and breaking of generational curses that had been implemented in my family. Because remember, when you love people and you're hoping to see them through their generational curses, you also become ingrained in the community and they rely on you. But the moment you realize you can cut that off and still do your own thing and still participate in breaking those generational curses, it, you know, talk about aging into wisdom. So I kind of wonder if these lesbian girls are struggling because they just don't have the tools yet, and they call it a preference when really it's just a limitation in their awareness for now, right? What do you guys think? Okay, I'm going to go back to chat so I can see what you guys are saying. Chat says, I feel like the gay dating pool is small enough to be, so by excluding bisexuals, you're shrinking it even further, which lowers the odds of you finding the high compatibility partner. And I do feel like when we talk about high compatibility partners, I feel like it's really weird when queer people or gay people do start discriminating against each other, but it is going to happen because humans are going to human. We all, I think preferences, again, are like colors, like, oh, I like red versus blue. They're not whether or not, because look, the only reason you would be afraid of a bisexual is because you're afraid she'll leave you, which sounds very much like straight girls that won't date bisexual men, right? Like, it's like when straight girls literally won't date bisexual men because they're like, you're actually gay. It's like, it sounds like you're doing this out of fear. I want you to come to this conclusion, not out of fear. And that's my concern, is like, I get that. I've made a lot of decisions with this, like, trying to balance and trying to, you know, keep everything intact and trying to juggle all these dishes. And then I realized I'm going to drop all these dishes and I'm not even going to be sad about it. You know? Chet says, I will say a lot of these lesbians on TikTok are not looking for high compatibility partners. They're looking for a hookup. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't think anyone, gay, straight, lesbian, whatever, is looking for high compatibility partners. I think everybody's looking for a partner that makes them feel validated in their identities, right? I think it's very rare to have conversations with people about, you know, values and morals and high compatibility based off of like seeing the world the same way. That's why we watch these dating shows and deconstruct them. It's why we're watching Love is Blind, so we can see how there is a struggle. I mean, look at Brittany from Love is Blind. Love her. Is Brittany a closeted pansexual, bisexual girl that's in denial? Or is she a straight woman who hooks up with girls on occasion? Because if she's a straight girl who hooks up with girls but can't see her life without a man, like, I'm not interested. If she's a girl who can marry any gender or a woman or whatever, then I'm interested. Because again, like, dating is like, when you're talking about high compatibility and this is the person who's going to wipe your butt during Alzheimer's, this is serious stuff. This is serious stuff, girls. Now, if you're just like hooking up and hanging out and eating box, like, okay, I'm not here to judge that. But if we're talking about wiping my butt because I have Alzheimer's, well, then in that case, we have got to have a larger conversation about this. Because dating is no joke in that case, right? Especially with the statistical probability of partners leaving relationships, right? Okay, check out some more videos though. Okay, again, shout out to this creator. I'm sure they're lovely. This is another version or another comment on this topic.
Bisexual hate, and I am going to get, okay, as a femme bisexual woman, I truly understand bisexual hate, and I am going to give you my take on it. So I was at the farmer's market and I was talking to this girl who was a lesbian, and we were like chatting about dating, and she said something of like, yeah.
Question, actually I'll like it because I should be liking these people's TikToks since I'm using it. She identified as like a femme bisexual. That's so interesting. Because I would not have labeled her that way, but it's not my business. It's her identity, and I love that for her. But I find that very fascinating.
Yeah, I'll never date a bisexual woman again. And I was like, period. I think she thought I was a lesbian in this conversation, and I was like, just so you know, I am bi, but I take no offense at that, and you should have your preferences and do whatever you want. You know, I was like, you don't gotta date me, kind of thing. The more that I talked to her about it, what experience she had had with bisexual women, I was like, oh, this is just you having experiences with bisexual women who have not yet decentered men. This actually happened to me. I was dating this bi girl and I got into this whole messy situation with her that I felt like was completely predicated on the fact that she just had not decentered male attention from her priority list. She was still so coupled to needing male attention and validation, and so she couldn't really engage in a relationship with me no matter how much she wanted to or liked me without still needing to put that ahead of my needs. So I don't really think it's about like, oh, bi women are attracted to both men and women and that's the problem. In an equal world, that just wouldn't be a problem. The problem is that patriarchy exists and women are still rewarded for prioritizing it.
I mean, for sure. I just think like centering your life, you know, I think I agree with this. Like, I agree that I wouldn't want to date a girl who's always seeking out validation or interested in like men's approval, right? I wouldn't want that from anyone though. Honestly, it's kind of an ick to me, people who seek people's like validation, like deeply, like all of us seek validation. But if you are like constantly seeking validation, I actually think it's an ick. I actually prefer to be with like the edgy, you know, like somewhat edgy, like loner who's like autistically introverted and like literally doesn't give a fuck, because like that's ultimately the vibe, you know. But for some people, their whole life is centered around validation, and that's just, in my opinion, coming from a place of like weakness. But I don't think it's bad. I think it's just can be unhealthy. It's probably from childhood. It's probably from trauma. But everyone seeks validation. So there's healthy validation seeking and unhealthy validation seeking. And I think it's unhealthy in gay relationships or bisexual relationships to be consistently needing the validation from the patriarchy. I think it's bad in heterosexual relationships to consistently needing validation from the patriarchy. Like, regardless if you're straight or not, or gay or not, if you're seeking validation from the patriarchy, man, woman, child, we are not introspecting. We are not deconstructing.
If you have a bisexual woman who's asked to kind of choose between the LGBTQ community and her allyship to it, and then maybe getting some proximity to male power, sometimes she will choose the latter. And that makes lesbians feel really disillusioned with bisexual women because they are choosing patriarchy and power and centering the male gaze over them. And lesbians are like, nah, you know what, fuck that. I've had to work so hard to decouple myself from the male gaze. I don't need to be with someone who hasn't done that.
Fun fact, many lesbians are seeking of male validation. I'm tough enough, strong enough. I can fix cars just as good as men. I'm smart like men. I can do math like men. I'm as muscular as men. You know how many lesbians I've met that have not decentered men from their life, and they are in competition and seeking validation from them at the same time? Please do not pretend like lesbians do not seek out male validation. Please, please. And maybe I'm old because I'm a millennial, I'm a mid-millennial. Most of the lesbians I knew growing up in some way were in competition with men. You know how many, in my opinion, masked lesbians, or God forbid, I even say studs, they, in my opinion, compete with men for fashion, compete with men with haircuts. They're like, whose fade is better? I love that for you. I love a good competition. But like, what are we talking about here? You know how many lesbian podcasters or people I've seen who are like, I can date women better than men. I can eat your pussy better than a man. What part of that is decentering men? If you think you're better at sex because you're a woman than a man and you're in competition for who eats box better, like that is centering men, in my opinion.
Not work. I know bisexual women who have done that work of decentering men, and they would maybe fall in love with a man. It wouldn't be about grasping for male attention or validation. It would just be about falling in love, right? And then there are bisexual women who just haven't done that work and
Right.
they're still grasping.
A lot of people, though, I think putting it on bisexual, pansexual girls is just unfair from the data that I've gathered. But I will say this is because our experiences are different, not because anyone's a bad person. I don't think any of these lesbians or any of these queer people are bad people. I think they're just at that stage of their deconstruction, but they think they figured it out. But I would argue that there's still more to deconstruct if you think bisexuality is the problem. Because plenty of bisexual queer women do not center men in their life. You can be bisexual and never have dated a man. So what are we talking about? You can be a lesbian and have dated a man. So like, what are we talking about?
for that validation and attention. And I think lesbians can just kind of spot that from a mile away and be like, no, I do not want that in my life still, because I've done all this work to get away from that. And I don't want someone who's going to prioritize proximity to patriarchy and power over me. Even as a bisexual woman, I don't want to date bisexual women who I feel like haven't done that work yet. But also, I don't even want to be friends with like straight girls who haven't done that work yet. Like, I'm not really trying to hang with people who are centering their lives around men. Even if they're straight, I still need you to have done some work to like de-center male attention and validation. I don't know, that's just my take as a bi woman. Everyone is allowed to have their preferences, and if you've been burned by bisexual women in the past, then like, fine. Like one time I dated this guy.
I just feel like saying I've been burned by a bisexual, so I won't date her, is equivalent to saying like I've been burned by X group of person, so I'm not going to date them. I don't think this is the point of deconstructing gender or race or anything else. Like, I'm not interested. I personally am at the point in my life where I'm not really interested in blaming a whole group of people because I had a bad experience with one. I kind of feel like I'm over it. Even if I had a bad experience with 5 of them, I'm not going to do it. Men aren't born bad. They're raised badly. Okay? Like, they are raised badly. We know this. We know this to be true because even gay men suffer from it. We know this, right? So I'm not about this, but I don't think it's wrong to go on the journey. I don't think it's wrong to be here emotionally. And Chad brought up Chaperone's new song, The Givers, very male-centered in a way, still a fun song. Yeah, she talked about how the song is basically about how guys can't, you know, make a girl come or whatever. I'm so sick of this conversation. If y'all's partners can't make you come, that's on you. I'm sorry. I'm sick of people. And I know people came in my comments when I made that statement before. You are in charge of your orgasm, period. Period. If you're not coming, that's on you, girl. And if your partner is not listening to you, that's on them. But ultimately, why are you staying? Like, I don't understand this narrative. You know what I mean? I understand you can come up with 1,000 reasons why like sex is scary and you have trauma and this is why you can't figure out your orgasm. That's why we go to therapy. Your partner can't read your mind if you have trauma. You have to go to therapy, right? We get that. We're compassionate. We're loving. We're there. I get you. I'm here for you. But also, I don't like this narrative of like guys can't eat pussy. Well, okay, so teach them. Sit on their face more. Suffocate them more. What are you talking about? Like, is nobody a teacher anymore? Maybe it's because I'm in my top era. I'm a good teacher. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem being a teacher, but maybe that's it. Maybe it's because I'm in my top era. I'm not expecting people to like read my fucking mind. When I was in my bottom era, sure. Like, you know, it was a little weirder having to teach partners, I suppose, who were the top and should know better. But damn, can we also deconstruct that narrative that top should automatically know? Can we like deconstruct the narrative that like, ooh, you're the one with the strap, so you should know what you're doing? I feel like we need to deconstruct that as well. Okay? I think we should move past that. Okay, a few more videos.
Don't get me wrong, I love all my LGBT. I need more lesbian friends, like straight up lesbian. Don't get me wrong, I love all my LGBTs, but sometimes it's just real lesbian hours. Because like, why am I speaking to you as a queer woman and you're still talking about a man? You're still talking about how you want to end up with a man. You still talking about niggas ain't shit. Why are we talking about men? And more importantly, why are we not talking about women? Like, y'all don't really be hating men enough for me. You talk about you hate men. Bitch, I hate Swedish fish, so I don't eat Swedish fish. You hate men, but you eat... Oh, I need more lesbian.
Okay, a little, it could be, I get the point. Okay, she made a rebuttal because somebody said, because I'm bisexual, question mark, like y'all are ridiculous. We are part of the LGBTQ community. The hate on bisexuals be so crazy on this app. And then she responded.
Like, what the hell? I really want to know what y'all be talking about. I said I want lesbian friends because they relate to my lesbian experience. And you're taking that as hate on bisexuals. Huh. I really don't know what y'all want from us. Like, if you want to be with men, go be with men. Why you got to put that on lesbians? Why do I have to be friends with you and date you and all this other shit because you want to fuck with niggas? And now I'm the bad person because I don't? Y'all not going to make me feel bad. I don't give a damn. Instead of being mad at lesbians for not wanting to fuck with you, maybe listen to what we're saying and examine your own internalized homophobia and your own internalized misogyny and your own male-centeredness and see why lesbians don't want to hang out with you. Because I have friends who are bi, pan, queer, and who are really down to clown. But y'all don't be down for real, and that's the problem. But anyways, I just want to take the rest of this video to show you guys how cute I look today. My hair looks so good.
Reminder that all these people are really young as well. I think like we have to take that into consideration. This is like their journey, their expression. They are young people. They are on their own journey of deconstruction. And I think this whole like bisexual versus lesbians, who's deconstructed males' attention more, depends on the lesbian, depends on the bisexual. Lesbians, again, too many lesbians out here seeking male validation for me to believe you've deconstructed it. But I also think like this is not good for our community as a whole to be like, oh, who's done it more? We're not having a monolithic experience. Everyone's like on their own journey. Everyone's going to discover it at their own pace. So this idea, right, that lesbians have it in their head that they've deconstructed male attention, I don't know, automatically or something, like you haven't. Just because you're not attracted to men doesn't mean you don't center them in your life, you know? And so I think that is the conversation that people aren't willing to have yet, that I haven't seen from lesbian content creators yet, but I have experienced it with lesbians in my own life. Okay. So I'd like to see that happen, right? Chat says everyone keeps using centers men differently, and now I don't know what we're talking about. Well, it depends on the context of the conversation, really. But that's also the part of the discourse. The reason, you know, it's bubbles clashing up against bubbles, right? But we human beings as a whole have a hierarchical way of thinking. We think we're better than other people. And again, I think that's why my rhetoric. Okay, so I've been saying this, and maybe this is a good time to explain it. Let me bring out the paint, girls. Let me drink some water too, because I'm dying over here. Oh my God. Oh, praise be. Okay, let me bring this up. Okay, so I'll draw it, I think. Okay, so here's this island. Okay, this is a tree. This is a tree. Okay, this is this island. Okay, here's this island, and people are on this island. Okay, and they're like, "Woo, we love this island." And then there's like water, and there's like these boats. Okay, I'm getting on this boat. Okay, you can come with me or not, but I'm on this boat now. And this boat is going over here to this new island. Okay, right? Okay. And there are people on this island, and they're doing something different than on this island. Okay. And again, you can stay on this island. You're not a bad person for staying on the island. You're not an amazing person for not staying on the island. You're just on a different journey. Okay. So my whole journey right now is saying, I'm going to get on this boat, whether you come with me or not, but I'm not coming back to the island. I'm not going back. So this is it, bitch. Bye. Love you. It's been fun. I'm going forward because I'm an explorer, bitch. Call me a Viking, bitch. I'm an explorer, bitch. Okay. And I want to know what the hell is here off the page that I can't even see. But these people, they're like, no, we're good right here. I'm like, okay. But instead of talking shit on these people for not getting on the boat, why do you want these people on the boat anyways? I don't want you on the boat. And this happened this year where Vinland Saga arc. Yes, chat. This happened this last year with a few of the men in my life where I was explaining to them, I'm getting on this boat. You either come on the boat or not on the boat, but I'm not staying on your island anymore. And they were mad and they were not happy with me. And that's okay. They don't have to be happy with me, but they were mad because I decentered them from my life. Because their man problems, they weren't willing to face them. If you're unwilling as a man to face your problems, do not expect a woman to do the emotional labor for you, because I'm not doing it anymore. But I had done it so much in my life that people expected it of me. And when I told them I was done doing it, they were like, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, you're a bitch. They basically don't talk to me anymore. I'm happy to talk to them. They won't talk to me. Because I was like, I'm not centering your pain in my life anymore, because you, after how many decades, have refused to face it. If you will not face your pain, I'm not going to do it for you, because I know what it's like to be raised as a woman in the world. You were made to believe that you have to do all of this work for men. And the truth is like, I don't blame women who keep doing it because you were raised to do it, but I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm not going to feel bad. No matter how many times they call me a bitch, I'm not doing it anymore. I still love them. I still hope the best for them. But this is why I say, inner circle or not, I'm good, girl. You do you, right? Okay. So we are on an adventure. Let me bring out the paint again, please. Okay. So We were all on an island together. It was a vibe. Then I was like, hey, what's on this island? And they're like, don't go there. Because if you go there, I can't come with you. And I was like, ooh, you could come with me if you deconstructed. And they're like, no, I don't want to deconstruct. I'm like, okay, but I'm going to go anyways. And they're like, you're such a cunt. I can't believe you're going without me. I can't believe you're not going to take me with you. You can't fit on the boat, girl, because you have to deconstruct. So there's like a wall. They can't come. That's not my fault. So what happens is you have your people and you have all of these adventures you can go on, all of these different islands, okay, all of these different possibilities. But in some cases, okay, maybe they can't go on this one. Maybe only you can go here. And maybe they can't go on this one, right? Only you can go there. So then what happens is they're like, well, don't go to the ones I can't go to. But the ones they can't go to, that's where your next joy is, right? That's where your next journey of joy is. So instead of being grumpy that your friends can't come with you, celebrate the fact that your friends are just on a different part of their journey. But usually people can't be happy for your growth because they're afraid that their stagnation might not be the answer when it feels to them like the only answer. This is why I love One Piece, because Luffy has a team that he doesn't force to stay with him. That ultimately he trusts people to do their own shit. That ultimately he believes in people's ability to make their own decisions. That ultimately, like, you should all have your own goals, even when you're a team, even when you're together. Even in my partnership, we have our own goals. Then we have the team goal. We have the team goals, then we have our own goals. Because ultimately, like, we are two different people. We are not the same person. So same for our communities. As queer people, we shouldn't expect our communities to be doing this, quote, same work or same labor or or having the same experience. We should be expecting them to go on their own journey that makes sense for them. And it is what it is, right? Let me link these TikToks in chat, guys, because I totally just forgot and I need to X them out of my tab. So here's this girly and here's this girly. Let me put it in chat for you guys. What do you guys think about that? Because I do think it's hard when people feel like they're better than you. Like, I'm better than you. I'm moving on, versus just saying like, hey, we're not in the same journey, but that's okay. I think sometimes people just get mad and then it makes you feel like, well, get your shit together, bro. But also they don't have to. People don't have to get their shit together. They don't have to do life with you. This is why I say, like, I love my friends and family, but none of them are doing life with me. And I don't think anyone ever does, or maybe they do, but like, I'm not interested in that life either. I know everybody likes to talk shit on, individualism and independence and stuff, but I think first, we're always a village. And then second, for some of us, we are more nomadic. I'm definitely like in my nomad era, where if like, I want to do exactly what I want to do every day. And right now, and this will change because this is only temporary, right now, I'm in a very specific era of my life. I'm researching, I'm reading, I'm consuming, I'm doing 30-day challenges. I'm focusing on me and how to become like a healthy, great version in my 40s. I'm focusing on my own wisdom, my own introspection. It means that, I moved to Croatia as an example. I said this in the last podcast, right? Like, if my family was like, you can't move to Croatia, I'd be like, pourquoi? Like, I would still do it. Even if my mother was like, please, like, I really need you to stay here. With peace and love, I also needed you to be less homophobic, but you didn't do that, girl. And even if you had, how dare you demand that somebody in their 30s not go out and live their best life? Which, thank God my family's not like that. Like, thank God my parents are very much like, go on your adventure. That's probably also why I'm this way, because my family's very much like, go on your adventure. Like, when I was doing my road trips, my dad like helped me get ready. He helped me with my solar panels. I bought my solar panels, but he helped me with my solar panels. He helped me hook up my trailer. Like, he was like, if you're going to do this, I'm going to help you do it right. Like, they're not people to tell their kids not to do an adventurous thing. But yet some of my siblings did end up struggling to truly be nomadic. They're still deconstructing their own need for validation, right? When men in my life come to me and go, hey, girl, I want to talk to you. I really need validation seeking from you. And I'm like, no, wrong person to come to. And they're like, wait, why? And I'm like, because you're validation seeking on an inappropriate relationship. You're validation seeking when you're doing something very bad. Do not come to me to validation sake when you know you're in the wrong. And they're like, yeah, but like, you're my sister. And I'm like, yeah, well, and that's how much I love my brothers. You want to talk about tough love? Here's that for you. Don't come to me to validate your bad decisions, because that's not the kind of sister I am. But I will always be there for you. And I will never block my brothers, and I always love them. But I am not going to allow them to be toxic and not call them out. Okay, girl? That's how much I love my brothers. You want to talk about tough love? Breaking a generational curse is hard because you get called a bitch. But bitch never looks so good. You know what I'm saying? Bitch never looks so good. Okay? Bitch never looks so good. So it is what it is. It is what it is, right? All of this to say, I think these girls all have valid perspectives. I think it's okay to feel this way. I just don't think it's a universal experience. And I don't think that they have deconstructed the way that they think they have. Not dating pansexual or bisexual women because they haven't deconstructed men tells me you're still centering men on your life. I don't make any decisions because of men. And that includes who I date. Okay? You know? Chet says, I'm feeling very attacked now because my parents did not support either me moving out for education of all things and don't support my relationship now due to racism. Oh, girl, I'm sorry. That's tough. That's tough. That is hard. That actually is super hard. Talk about validation seeking. What's more validating than your parents saying, yes, please go on this adventure. Go live your best life. That's pretty validating. Even from homophobic parents. It is very difficult to have adults in your life shoot down every idea you have for your growth. That's really damaging. I hope you have a good therapist because that is real. You want to talk about trauma? Every idea you have centered around your growth gets shot down. You know? Chet says, Brittany, did you say I don't base any of your decisions based off a man, even your own partner? When we, okay. Okay. I do not center any of my decisions based off of people because they're men, myself included. When we're talking about centering men or decentering men, we're talking about the gender man. Because he's a man, inherently I center him. Because it's a woman, I inherently center her. I don't center anyone in my life because they're a man, right? Like, I don't even center my life around my partner, right? Because regardless of their gender, when I say I have a genderless marriage, it means gender doesn't play a role in how we center each other. I don't center my partner because of gender. I center my partner because of who they are, because we are a team. You know, my partner doesn't, like, we've decentered gender in our marriage. Our marriage doesn't take into consideration gender in our own marriage. You know what I mean? Brittany values the individual, not their input, because if they represent something. Exactly. Yeah. Like Chet says, is decentering men the same as deconstructing the patriarchy? It's not. It's a part of it. Patriarchy, think more political system. Men think more like what we do in our lives because the patriarchy has convinced us that these men need to be centered because of the system in place. So when we decenter the patriarchy, that also is an umbrella term that also includes decentering men from our lives because they're men. Not because they're individuals who happen to be men, but because inherently they are men. We are literally taught under patriarchy to, at the expense of our own joy, censor these men. Why do you think all of these single mothers are focusing, all the bad ones, not the good ones, the ones who at the expense of themselves have internalized patriarchal priorities, have at the expense of themselves centered their selfish sons? I'm not talking about any particular kind of single mom. This is a very specific kind of single mom, okay? Think about the boy moms. Boy moms, inherently, whether you're partnered or not, is centering men. For what reason? Because he's a boy? It makes no sense to me to prioritize your son's focus because he's a boy. Now, if you say as a mother, I will protect my son against the systems that are built to come for him, then you better deconstruct the patriarchy before you start instilling in your son a sense of protection. Because your son, whether you like it or not, under patriarchy, has and is born with a set of protections that are beyond even the protections that women are born with. You know, Chet says, do you think you can decenter men and be Christian? No. Since Christianity inherently centers men, no. Their God is a man. They'll say God is gender neutral, but if you call Jesus a she, people get very pissed. If you call God a she, people get very pissed. No, all religion that centers a male God as the one and only and doesn't allow women to ever take any kind of status of power or prominence in a real way, like, no, that's inherently centering men. That's why it's ironic, I think, when people talk about like decentering the patriarchy, decentering men, but you still go to church. You still worship Jesus Christ. So much for decentering men, I guess. You know, so much for decentering men. But that I get it. Like, I get why you're doing that. You're raised in a whole community of people that do the same thing. You know? I think Jesus Christ would have been much more accessible to people if you guys would run with that non-binary, you know, vibe. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Chet says, I guess the confusion to me is whether or not you base your decisions on a man or whether that they are a man or not. Does that matter? I think it's the spirit of what you're saying to say, right? Okay. You can make a choice to center your attention on boys and men. Right? You can do advocacy works for men and boys, and that's great. Okay? You can focus on how boys are discriminated against, how certain sects of boys need help, and that would make sense to center your life around men because you're helping underprivileged boys have a chance in society. Let's say like parents who have black sons might center their attention on their sons because of the way that they have to survive under white supremacy in the United States. You would center your life on boys of color, right? That's good. But that's in reaction to the oppressive system at play. Okay. I make a point to center my content and signal to femmes, queers, women, LGBTs, all of this stuff. I don't make content that is meant to be attractive to the typical cis man, right? I don't want Myron Gaines watching my stuff and identifying with my work. Okay, I don't want these conservative men watching my content and they're like, oh yeah, Brittany's got a point. No. I don't make content for men. It's cool if men watch me, but I don't make content, hopefully, that would make Charlie Kirk feel comfortable in my space. You know what I'm saying? I center my content on like progressive thinkers. I make content with them in mind, right? That's okay. It is okay to center specific groups of people in mind. It is okay to do that as long as you know why. So when you're centering men in your life, it's often because you've been convinced by the patriarchy, if you're a woman, to think that men are better than you. And by seeking their validation and doing everything for them, you'll be rewarded somehow. And I'm not a fan of that. That's a bad why. You know? Chat says, wait, you don't want men to watch your content? Okay. With peace and love, Habibi, I think we're at, we're like at an advanced class and you're still on 101. Like, I don't know how old you are. I don't know your background. I don't know like what's happening with maybe the way I'm communicating. Maybe there's a language barrier, but like nowhere in that sentence structure did I say I don't want men watching me. You know, Discord said a man making content for queer women. You're so progressive, Brittany. Just kidding. You know what, girl? Chat says, yes, I'm from India. Okay, so we're having a language barrier probably more than anything. I'm assuming that's what you mean when you say you're from India. That's fine. Okay, do you watch FD Signifier? FD said something really interesting. I'll use another content creator as an example so you know it's not just like a Brittany thing. FD made a video about how he makes content for Black people, Black communities, Black thinkers, Black consumers. And he was confused that a lot of his recent bump in audience was from like white viewers. And I think this is really, really important to recognize as a content creator and as an audience member, like why that's so important that FD is a space for Black communities to come and have this discourse. How you might watch FD Signifier and feel left out or not left out, but it wasn't ever about you. I know a lot of white people who hate FD Signifier. They think he's like bad, but that's just because I don't think they get what he's doing. And I think that's important as a content creator to know who your audience is. So my audience, my point of when I wake up and I make a content, I hope men get this. I don't wake up and think, I really hope a dude is going to understand this today. I wake up and I go, I hope the girlies and the gays get it. Right? So when FD wakes up and he makes a script, he's not thinking, I hope Karen over in Kentucky really gets what I'm talking about. He goes, I hope these people in this community get what I'm talking about. When I wake up, like this podcast I have coming this week, I'm just hoping the girlies and the gays get it. You know, that's what I'm thinking about. Right? I'm thinking I want to communicate to them in their language and our language, a point I'm trying to make, and I want us to deconstruct it. Right? If I was to make content for men, maybe I would make content like Not So Erudite is a good example. She full on comes out and says her whole brand is for the boys. Kyla's whole brand is for the boys. Last time, I'm not on Twitter anymore, but last time I checked it, it was like even her header said something about being for the boys. Her whole dream is centering men in her life. That's fine. Fine. I don't think it's fine, but I think she wants to do advocacy work for boys, but I think she's probably doing it at the expense of herself. That's her, her life. Okay. There's like tons of content creators that center their life around men. Blair White does, whether she likes it or not. Her whole content is about centering men and their approval. Who's another one? There's like so many girls I see, and you can tell their whole shtick is just about boys at the expense of women, And I do think that's true. Like Dr. K, he centers men in his content, but it's not at the expense of women. I think Dr. K does it really well. His whole brand is helping boys, but not at the expense of women. He's really good at it, right? But that's different than somebody who centers their content on boys at the expense of women. So when we say deconstruct, we're saying pull apart and understand why you're doing this in the first place. And if it's secretly because deep down you are seeking male validation, even if it comes at the expense of women, ooh, red flag. Red flag, red flag, Chat says Hassan is for the boys too. I've actually heard Hassan say that he tries very much to appeal to men and boys who he can kind of sway away from the right pipeline. And I think he's probably pretty good at it, actually. And he's so good at it, he also has girls watching. And keep in mind that boy audiences are heavily more prevalent on the internet. Like during the summer, my viewership usually goes down because girls touch grass. That's just a very known demographic data point as a content creator is if you have a girl audience, you will make less money and you will have less numbers and you will have less views in the summer because we literally volunteer, we touch grass, we go on vacation, we hang out with our friends. Boys are more chronically online, which is why they're angrier, more incel prone. It's why they're into conspiracy theories. It's why they end up becoming sort of negative people on the internet because they forget to touch grass in the summer. Like now that it's getting warm in Croatia, I told my partner, I was like, beach time, we're going outside. I'm so excited. The sun is shining. We're heading into the nice weather, So again, when, there's so much to be said about why we do things, but until you deconstruct it, we don't know exactly what brought us here. Like we don't know, why am I doing it because I really think boys need attention? Or am I doing it because I'm actually wanting to give attention to boys so they give attention to me? Yeah, Pearl too. Pearl Davis is all about that male validation. Yeah, absolutely. So does that kind of answer that question? I think we explored it pretty well. Thank you to the chatter who asked. Like, I think that's the point, is that I continue and I will continue to spend my life trying to deconstruct why I do things, because I always want to make sure that if I'm validation seeking, it's coming from a healthy place. We just want to make sure we're doing it from healthy places because there's nothing wrong with needing validation. When I post a picture on my Discord or something, let's say we post a picture, it's like, yeah, there's like a form of validation seeker. When you guys like the stream, I get a little bit of validation. Guys, like the stream, please. When you guys sign up for Patreon or YouTube members, I get a boost of validation, meaning I'm making good enough content that people want to support it monetarily. That's like an extra form of validation seeking that also lets me know I'm doing good at my job. The fact that I worked really fucking hard on my last podcast. Like I worked so fucking hard and it ended up getting really good views, really good responses, a huge amount of subscribers. Like that makes me feel so fucking good because I worked really fucking hard on that video. And, you know, it just sends all the right data points to my brain that I'm doing something correct. There's nothing wrong with seeking validation. The scary thing is who's giving us that validation? Who's giving it to us? You know, and that's what's dangerous is like you might be getting all of these like dopamine hits from this validation, but is it coming from the wrong source? And is this source going to eventually strip it away from you and take it away from you because they were only doing it to feed their own ego? Like an Andrew Tate, he's only going to validate women in order to feel in control of them. Then he's going to take it away from them. And the women are going to be like, oh no, Andrew, give me my supply. Give me my supply. And Andrew's going to be like, no, bitch, you don't get no supply. I'm a man, you know? And then the women are like, oh no, what do I do without my supply? You shouldn't have never had Andrew Tate as the supply of your validation. You know, Andrew Tate should never have been the kind of person you were validation seeking. That chat says the accent. It's pretty good though. My partner this morning goes, were you doing Jordan Peterson impressions earlier? I was like, I don't think so, but maybe, because I do talk to myself. And then sometimes I really am in my house like, I really need this coffee. Ethan, give me the coffee. Give me the coffee, Ethan, before I yell at a trans person on Twitter. There's a very high probability that I was doing Jordan Peterson impressions and didn't even realize it this morning. Yeah. Anyways. Okay. Wait, chat says, gotta say completely off topic. Just made oat bran with a cut up bits of chocolate bar and brown sugar. Listen to me when I say this. Yesterday, I made vegan chocolate mousse out of silken tofu. My partner found some at the store and brought it to me. And I was like so stoked and it was so good. And it was bomb. Like it was bomb. I was so happy. The texture was a little watery than what I wanted, but I think it's because I didn't press my tofu before because it was silken and I wasn't sure if I was supposed to, but the taste fabuloso. I put it in the freezer, even better. Okay, it's great. Okay, now with that said, give me a few minutes to take a break because I got tinkle. When we come back, we're going to get into this podcast from Becca Moore where she explains why she broke up with her girlfriend and how allegedly it wasn't even over the idea that she couldn't have biological kids with her because this totally ties into this lesbian fear or this straight woman fear that this bisexual person is going to leave you for the other gender. And this is why I say deconstruct gender. Deconstruct your gender. Deconstruct their gender. Deconstruct gender as a whole so we can figure out what we're really doing here when we're dating, when we're vibing, when we're being with people, you know? Discord said, did you just use silken tofu and cocoa powder? Cocoa powder, silken tofu, salt for taste, maple syrup for flavoring, and I melted down some dark vegan chocolate that I had in the house for texture. I followed a recipe on TikTok. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. All right, let's go ahead and check this video out. So this is by Becca Moore. So we covered, if you missed it, her breakup with her girlfriend. I'll go ahead and link the video in the chat. A while back, allegedly, the internet was rolling, and even I rolled with it. The idea that, oh, hold on, I completely miscopied the link because I'm a boomer. When we covered her breakup story a few months back, allegedly it was over the fact that she basically didn't know how she was going to have children naturally with her gay partner. Allegedly, this is not the reason she broke up with her, but she's going to tell her story here. I put it on 1.25. It's a little bit of a long video. Let's hear Becca out and see where she's coming from, because she has her own experience, and I guess we could learn from it. And plus, you guys requested it, so here we go.
Okay, I'm ready to talk about what actually happened.
How's the audio?
Hi, welcome to For the Girls with Becca Moore. I'm Becca Moore, obviously. I know for a lot of you, you're like tired of hearing about it, but unfortunately this is my real life. So, and I'm not done talking about it until it's very clear how I feel and the message is clear and I get to be authentic and tell the truth at this point. So I just feel like this has just been eating me alive. And it's just, I've realized that it is important to communicate effectively because the things that I say matter. And I just keep thinking about a 12 or 13-year-old or a girl in high school getting on YouTube, because I was on YouTube at 9. So I know that there are kids online like watching content. And I'm so concerned about one of them finding my channel, watching through my videos, and then being like, oh my God, I see myself in this girl. Oh my God, like you can love whoever you love and it doesn't matter. Like no one cares, right? But then they find my breakup episode and they're like, oh, well, it ends there, I guess. And I guess she gave up. And I recognize that is my fault and that is how it seems because of that episode. And I'm responsible for that. And so I do feel like it's important for me to correct the narrative. I'm still getting tagged in things that are like, here's a problem with everything that Becca Moore said. And honestly, some of those videos are valid. I think context matters. And I think it's been frustrating to me because I feel, first of all, misunderstood. And that's a hard feeling to grapple with. But I feel like I'm mad at myself. I'm mad at myself for, I don't want to say that that wasn't an authentic reason that we broke up, but it was just, it wasn't even why we broke up, I guess. It's just like, I think when you go through a breakup, there's like 100 reasons for a breakup. I think there's a few big ones, and that wasn't a big one. That wasn't even a fraction of a reason that we broke up. I am frustrated with myself for offering up kind of like a scapegoaty reason for the breakup without talking to more lesbians and like gay people. I like wish I asked more questions, and I think I was just trying to do what I thought was going to protect our privacy. Like I think that, which is crazy because it had the opposite effect. I just wanted to shut down rumors, and I wasn't ready to let go of that relation. Like I wanted to protect my ex-girlfriend, and I thought that that's what I was doing. And not that like our breakup is entirely her fault. I'm just saying like I wanted to, I don't know. I don't know. I can just go back in time and like try to get in my mind. But like the truth is I fucked up and I shouldn't have said that without more context. So I want to go back in time and tell you more about why we actually broke up because, well, first of all,
Okay, first of all, I just want to say that none of us are entitled to why they broke up. I also think it's important to recognize like breakups are a part of life. They will happen. I think one of the reasons I stopped being interested in sharing my relationships online was for exactly this reason. And even if you end up with your life partner, like the internet isn't entitled to that. And I've had criticisms where, and I think these are trolls. People are like, I don't understand why you get to talk about your relationships, but your relationship isn't on the internet. It's like, yeah, I mean, you're not going to try to trick me, bro, into having my relationship on the internet just because you want a chance to rip it apart or something. Like people will try to trick you. I also think like, you know, gay relationship content can bring in a lot of views. Let's be so for real. So it kind of feels like sometimes content creators do use their relationships to make views. Like, look, relationship content and children content, like being parent content, like that's, the numbers are there, girls. The numbers are there. So from a business perspective, it might feel really good to make family content, but I just take into consideration every family vlogger horror story, and I'm like, no, thank you. I just take into consideration like this, and I go, no, thank you. I don't want to have to make a video like this. And the reason she has to make this video is because her relationship was on the internet. Ultimately, like, we shouldn't be entitled to this.
I've thought about doing this for a long time, like talking about what actually happened. And I had to wait until, and I know it just seems like, why now, I guess, kind of. But I had to wait until my ex was done with her tour because I didn't want to send any like bad vibes. And also, I just think that as time has gone on, I've gained more clarity. I just think
She also seems like very kindly and oversharer, which is so fine. Like, we did not need to know it was because her ex-partner was on tour. We did not know she had a strategic reason for why. She could have just said, I was thinking about it and I finally am like peaceful enough to talk about it. She didn't have to give us that detail because now people are going to tear that apart, right? Like, you don't have to do it, girl. But I get, as a content creator, I myself overshare all the time. We feel like human to human, we want to do it, like, because we feel like we're over explaining ourselves. I don't know what her reasoning is, but I would say that, you know, chat says, is she neurodivergent? Maybe, because I totally get that from a neurodivergent perspective. Absolutely, over explaining is like, you just don't want to feel misunderstood. Maybe she is, right? But ultimately, I think I'm getting authenticity from her is what I'm trying to say. I feel like her need to over-explain is coming from a place of really genuinely not trying to deceive. And it's actually unnecessary. But I think I'm getting authenticity so far.
it's important to talk about this because it is eating me alive. And I think that like lately I've been jealous of like, I don't even like artists, like people that can like express themselves into a piece of art. Like even like painters, songwriters who can like make a song and tell a story in the song. And then it's an actualized piece of like art that people can use to like understand the artist more, you know? And I'm not a dancer or painter or songwriter. I can't write a song and tell you guys how I'm feeling. I talk about my life online. So it's like so different. But like, to me, this is expressing myself and expressing where I've come from, how I've learned, how I've grown. When you're going through a breakup, I'm still going through the breakup, but like, I remember I was like looking for content online, looking for like stories of girls that made it through and were okay. Obviously, this is like on a different scale. Like I was in a public relationship, and the person that I'm talking about is a public person and has a lot of fans. It's just such a complex thing. But I am finally ready to do this and tell my side of the story, because first of all, like when I first addressed the breakup thing, like a couple weeks after it went viral and like I was getting a lot of heat on the LGBT side of TikTok, I was still dating my ex. So like even after that podcast episode went up, we still dated for a month after that.
Sure.
You know, the first, I think, couple episodes after that episode, we were still together, and like I wasn't gonna like tell my side of the breakup story. Like I wasn't, because we're still dating. So like, and then I had to wait for her tour to be over. So that's why this is coming now. And I know, like, I also know that like you guys know too much about my personal life, but because I did make this relationship public, I do feel like it's my responsibility to be clear about what actually happened. And also for myself, I've been very frustrated with myself. And I've been like, you know, when you go through a breakup, you feel sadness, you feel anger. And I think a lot of the anger that I've been feeling lately has been at myself. And I've learned a lot, and I want to share what I've learned with you guys. This is a spoiler alert, but when that podcast episode did snowball out of control, my friends and family and like everyone was like, well, just tell your ex to like make a TikTok or something and talk about what happened. She said, you should stand up for yourself. And so that's me. That's why I'm doing this. I'm standing up for myself now.
Okay, for the girls with Becca Moore, my side of the story.
Yeah, I'm gonna start at the beginning. So when we started talking and when we started dating, around 3 dates in, I could just tell that we really liked each other. We had been texting for like a month, and she basically started telling me from the beginning that like her friends were concerned about us dating because first of all, I was 25 at the time. So she's 6 years older than me. I was 25. I was a baby gay. I never.
25 and 31. Is that the math? Yeah. Ooh, I tried that. I told you guys, I tried it once. to date somebody way younger. It was weird. I did not like it. Sam I am. I did not like it. Sam I am. It was online. It was a very nice person, but like, did not like it. Sam I am. I don't know why people do it. Honestly, and I was a younger person dating an older person at one point in my life too. And I just like, we're at different stages. Look, 25-year-old Brittany and 31-year-old Brittany. Whoa. Y'all. Whoa. And look, my story isn't her story, but like 25-year-old Brittany and 31-year-old Brittany could not have been more different. As we saw in that rehashment yesterday on stream, could not have been more different as people. And also before therapy and diagnoses, after therapy and diagnoses. Like, whoa, you know? So, you know, not everybody has like the same story. So maybe it didn't matter too much, but shout out to the friends who are a little concerned over the age gap. I think that's appropriate.
Never talked to a girl before, and she said she was worried because I was gonna like make TikToks about her if we ended. Like she was worried. She said her friends were really worried about that. So that kind of just in the back of my head set the tone for who I needed to be in that relationship. Like I was like, okay, you're right. I'm more mature than that, and like I'm not gonna make TikToks about you. What? So then I just kind of felt like, even though that now looking back, I'm like hindsight's 2020, and my ex was also a creator, and like I don't even know why that went over my head. And again, I really liked her. I wanted to be with her, and I was like, okay, I gotta like be more mature. Like I have to promise her that like I don't know. I wanted to show her that I was like a worthy partner. I was gonna make content about her if we ended. And I really, really, really liked her. Like I was so happy. I felt like I had found the person that I was supposed to be with, and I was just like, everything makes sense now. I've never been this close to someone, and you know, like when I'm telling this story about our relationship, I think it's like it's complicated because first of all, this is scary, and mostly this is the scariest thing I've ever posted or done, only because now I know to be scared, right? Because of how misunderstood that episode.
I think we have to remember too, when it comes to dating, we date to learn who we are, to become the person we're going to be for our high compatibility partner. And the sad part of it is when we're dating, we think this is my person. I'm in love. We live together. We share expenses. We're going to get married. This is my person. But the truth is, most of us won't meet our lifelong partner the first relationship we have, the first person we live with, the first person anything. But it's really weird to date and live with somebody and not feel or have those conversations about like, this is it, right? This is the person I love. And that's why I just tell people, like, for me, the defining difference between Brittany in her 20s and Brittany in her 30s was dating for high compatibility versus just dating because I felt connected to a person. I felt connected to a lot of people I ended up dating, right? But we weren't high compatible. And if I had just gone into dating with high compatibility in mind, I would have said no to so many other dates, and I would have gone on dates, but I would have had the experience that's necessary, but I wouldn't have had all the headaches. I also think if I knew I was autistic earlier, I would have just dated different kinds of people because I would have researched, I would have had different knowledge. You know, you can never go back. But moving forward, it's like, okay, who will I even tolerate now? Like, who would I even tolerate dating at this point? Which was very different, right? Because that's about compatibility. I can't fault people for being in a breakup. I can't fault people for dating and having a breakup. Like, that's literally what life is sometimes.
Episode was, but also that was my fault. So I don't know. I can't just sit here and tell you like are my top 10 favorite times with her. Like I loved her a lot. I do want to be clear that like the happy times that I shared on social media were happy. Like I look back.
Like I don't think her relationship needs to be doubted. I think a lot of people wanted to doubt the validity of it. Like, was she even gay? Is she valid? Did she even love her? Like, I just think that's so unnecessary.
And I'm like, I loved her. So like, this is obviously scary to do, but I do think that like, I have to tell the truth, but okay. So yeah, a month, just to like set the tone for our relationship, like a month into us dating, there was an incident at the bar that I was at the bar with her, and then something happened, and she apologized. She said that she was going to make changes in her life, and she wanted to be with me, and she was like, I don't know. So like, I stayed, like, and that is something that like I don't think I would have done if I was dating a man.
I just sat on my balls. What? Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. This is another, okay, This is another part of the learning curve, is like, just because you're dating a woman doesn't mean it's better than dating a man. I said what I said. Just because you're dating a woman, just because you're dating a non-binary person doesn't mean it's going to be better than dating a man. We need to stop getting away from these narratives of like dating men is the worst. No, dating the men we're dating is the worst. We pick bad. And also sometimes we're tricked into relationships because people lie. But like, it doesn't matter people's gender. Okay. Some people just suck. It is what it is.
Because I think that like with men, it's like, so for me, at least I'm just so used to dating, like I've only dated men before. I know boundary because the lines weren't as blurry. Like I had never been in a relationship with a woman. I feel like I just felt like she was like older than me, wiser than me.
And we can put gay relationships on pedestals. Like, oh my God, it's a woman. She won't hurt me the same way. I've been with a lot of women. Okay. I've been with a lot of women in my life. I personally didn't see much of a difference between genders that I dated. I just saw them coming from different perspectives. But trust me, nothing worse than a woman who again prioritizes men and the patriarchy, because I've dated those women. Exhausting. Let me tell you. Okay, it's not about their gender. For me, I'm at the stage in my journey where gender isn't the thing. It's not about gender. It's about your relationship to that gender. It's about your relationship to self. Because we do pedestal people. We think, oh my God, well, it's a gay relationship, so it must be safer. It's not about that. Now, statistically, men are raised to be predators. That's my theory. I think men are raised to be predators. Wait until you see this week's podcast, girls. I do think men are raised to be predators. I think they're raised to normalize predatory behavior. I think when you are born a man and assigned male and you get to be raised as that, it also comes with a perception shift that people push on you, men, women, non-binary, like regardless of gender, it's ingrained in you to normalize like predatory behavior as like not that big of a deal. And so the scary thing is probability wise, yeah, it's like safer not to date a man, but only because of the way he's been raised. But a man who's deconstructed, I think like that's fine. Don't date a man who's worried about being a man. Date a man who doesn't care about being a man. That's my suggestion. The best thing I ever did was stop dating men who cared about being men, bisexual or not. And for the record, my adult relationships, like I didn't date just straight, like they weren't just straight. Like for the record, like I think people might not know that, but like I dated a bisexual man for many, many years and did not help, did not matter. Did not matter. So it's because he was raised to normalize his infantilized or weaponized incompetence, right? He was raised to be allowed to be incompetent because he was a boy, he was a baby boy. He was a baby boy, you know? It was very difficult to date somebody like that. But I just, you know, you make excuses for people because of the way they're raised. No more excuses, just explanations.
I feel like a baby TikToker that is going to expose her online, according to her friend. That's what she told me, according to her friends. So I was like I just don't
I missed
know
that. Wait, I want to rewind that.
A baby TikToker that is going to expose her online, according to her friend. That's what she told me, according to her friends. So I was like I just don't know what, I don't know. But looking back, even though I was a baby gay and like like being a baby gay, there are disadvantages that you have and things do feel more confusing. And I know that now, especially with
Chet says expose her as what? Well, I'm assuming it's whatever happened at the bar. I assume she means like whatever happened. I assume her partner has some problems, maybe an alcohol problem, maybe a cheating problem, maybe abuse, something, right? And she made an excuse for it. And she's saying, I'm afraid you're going to tell TikTok about this or whatever. That's what I'm getting. She's being a little too vague for me, but maybe that's also because she's worrying about protecting people, which is so fair.
Hindsight. Like I have the gift of hindsight now. But I will say to anyone who is in their first relationship with a woman, relationships are relationships. Your boundary with maybe like a relationship that you've been used to should be the same boundary that you have like in all future relationships. Like it's just, there is right versus wrong. It doesn't matter if it's your first relationship with a woman. It doesn't matter if you feel like you aren't as equipped with like relationship experience. That was a theme in our relationship. And like at the end we were talking about it a lot.
I really hate that idea that because you've never dated somebody or you've never dated a woman, like I don't know what stereotype you guys are working off of, though I can understand it. You still have, I do know, I do know, but like, it's not good when you're talking about the love of your life. If this is the love of your life, then that stereotype shouldn't be playing into it because I don't know why you're dating the love of your life if they're part of that stereotype. If you're worried you're dating a bi girl that's going to leave you for a man, then like that's not your high compatibility partner. If you're with your high compatibility partner, it's going to be a vibe. This is what we say. I think I recorded it, but I haven't posted it yet, right? Sarah and Ben from Love is Blind. The way Ben doesn't reassure Sarah because he's not on the same page as her, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to post that. I'm going to edit it tonight and post it ASAP. But like, you can tell when you're talking to somebody if they get what you're saying. And if you're talking to somebody and they're not getting it, but they say like, oh yeah, I get you, but you can tell they don't get you, low compatibility. You know what I'm saying?
A lot. Like there was a power dynamic difference that came in early on. Like it was just like, I just felt, cause she was my,
I think if you're dating a partner and you have to talk down to them or be like, oh my God, you're so sweet, you're baby gay, incompatible. If you have to feel powerful in your relationship by talking down to your partner, incompatible, right? If you're in a relationship with somebody and you feel stupid and small and young because they're old and wise, incompatible. Like all of these toxic dynamics start from somebody fulfilling some weird fantasy they have. And I'm sick of seeing it. I'm sick of seeing these 20-year age gap relationships where everyone is fulfilling a fantasy because they were traumatized and didn't go to therapy. With peace and love, guys. Come on.
my longest relationship. She was the first person that I've dated that wasn't long distance even. Like she was the first girl I have even texted, and she has been in like multiple 3 and 4 year long relationships. So like I just felt like I was the underdog, not even underdog. I felt like I was just like at a disadvantage. Like I just didn't know. I don't know. I just felt like she knew way more than like I did.
About
Because she
what?
kinda did. Like
About what? About gay culture? Sure. But about dating? You've dated men. Why are we like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, it can be different dating different people because of their lived experience, but it's not about like, you know what I mean? I don't like this idea of like her feeling stupid in her relationship. I hate that. I hate the idea that this person tells you they love you, but like you feel stupid in your own relationship. Like that's not good.
like she kind of did. And so, yeah, I just felt like so I stayed after that night, bad night, hard night. She like apologized to me, and then I was still upset about it sometimes. So I would bring it up, and she basically told me that like, if you aren't able to get over this, then we can't date. And that's when I learned or decided for myself, it was easier to like bottle things up and not bring it up, because I wanted to date her. Like, and I had to decide like, what do I want more? Like her to keep apologizing to me about something, or do I want her? And I wanted her. She was my partner. Also, like no relationship
Did she want her the way she was, or the version of her that was in her head?
is perfect. So I was like, I'm willing to work on this with her. And like, I love her. She's my partner. She's my best friend at this point. And I was,
You know, when people say like no relationship is perfect, I'm like, yeah, sometimes your partner has cancer, but you know, you do your best. Because in a perfect relationship, nobody would be chronically sick. No relationship is perfect. Sometimes you have a chronically ill partner. But like that perfection isn't going to be the end all be all of our relationship. When people say like, oh, no relationship is perfect, like every relationship has abuse, we are not talking about the same thing. Okay? Like we're not talking about the same thing. My relationship feels perfect because I'm with my best friend and my like perfect partner for me. But again, life is hard. The relationship isn't hard. Life isn't perfect, but the relationship be vibing. Okay, I don't like this narrative of like no relationship is perfect, so I have to put up with any ounce of abuse. You put up with 0 ounces of abuse.
was falling in love with her already. So I decided to be like, you know what? I just have to get over this. Like I had to make a choice to forgive and get over it. We keep dating. 2.5 months in is when she's about to have her ex on her podcast. And I was fully supportive of this. And at this point, we're exclusive. And I supported her, and I understood why she was doing it. Like she wanted to promote her Patreon.
Wait, great point. The dichotomy of Shannon saying I'll work on it, then saying if you can't accept this, we can't date. Which, by the way, is it like it's an ultimatum, right? Like that's an ultimatum. And it sounds like an ultimatum at least. Maybe I could be wrong. But in that moment, I feel like Becca should have been like, okay, then we're not compatible. But I understand, because we've all been Becca at some point, at least I have, where you have those hard conversations and you think, well, I love this person. We'll just work at it. We'll go to therapy. We'll do couples counseling. We'll talk to our parents. We'll call our friends and family. We'll be the couple that's always talking to people about our boyfriends. Girl, I have been that girl where every conversation or hangout with my girlfriends was about how bad my relationship was and always talking about my relationship. I've been there. That should have been the sign that I was toxic, but I didn't get it. I thought like, yeah, this is just like, I know I'm that girl right now, but I can't, I'm like, I can't figure out my life. Right. And that should have been the sign. It was not my partner. The number one sign that you're not dating your high compatibility partner is that every time you talk to your friends about the relationship, it's nothing but bad news.
And so I wanted to help her. Like, so I helped her edit. Like, I was supportive to the point that I helped her edit her promo reels, and I helped her with those. As time went on and I kept dating her, I kind of understood like that she had a lot of lore with all 3 of the exes that came before me. Like, there are narratives online that like follow her because she has been in 3 other public relationships.
Oh.
So she warned me about this podcast episode, and I just felt like I could handle it because we were best friends and I trusted her and I loved her, and like we're exclusive too. Like, I knew their relationship was over, so I was like, whatever, I don't care. And I honestly,
I just want us to I want us to see. So we remember, this was the video we watched before.
About our relationship. Like,
This is her. Okay, so this is Shannon. This is Becca. I just want us to understand, like, get a visual for who she's talking about.
sometimes some topics we should probably stop talking about when we're like, who are we gonna date?
oh yeah, we've been
I'm
like,
like,
who
if
can
so and so
we even date
slides in your
next?
DMs, I'll fucking kill him. What I was gonna say is, so last night we're like,
Okay.
we're like,
Chet says, Britt, have you ever done videos on limerence? I've been learning about it for myself, so I'm curious. I've read about it, and I'm not very drawn to the topic in a sense. I feel like it's outside of my scope, if I'm going to be honest with you. Of like, I feel like there are really good content creators who talk about limerence. I think a lot of psychologists talk about it in a really healthy way. I don't have any videos on it. Yeah, I'm definitely like fascinated by the phenomenon of it, but I've never made content about it. I feel like it's a little bit outside my wheelhouse. Like, I feel like you should listen to therapists talk about it a little bit. You know what I mean? But that's probably because I struggle to embody it in a sense. It's a very interesting idea though, limerence, like this idea of it is so fast. Or crushes, like I've really struggled to identify crushes, and I think about it in relation to autism too. Like, I just think like different experiences are happening. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how we all experience things different. Limerence is very interesting. Yeah.
supported her through that. But then it actually went up. The podcast episode came out, and that's when I realized I was fucked because I was going up against the internet. And it just felt like I wasn't even like upset about the episode itself at all. Like, I really like didn't.
Wait, you think Becca's dealing with limerence? I don't see that at all. Wait, hold on. Let's look up. No, what? Becca? No, even the definition of limerence, no way. Limerence is a term you may not be familiar with. It describes an involuntary, uncontrollable, and obsessive desire for another person. This fixation can lead to significant distress, disrupting daily life, and may have negative impacts on other people. Guys, limerence is clinical. It's an obsession. It's like saying OCD is counting your steps. OCD is crippling. You don't have OCD because you count your steps. You don't have limerence because you're thinking about your ex. Like, limerence is intense, right? Like, limerence is an obsession. I think the reason, like, I want to make it like I would be very cautious to say that somebody had limerence. Like, it's like, yeah, Discord said it's life ruining. It is life ruining. Like, it's an addiction. Yeah, exactly. Discord says it's an addiction. It is very like scary. I've seen it in some people, and it's like, you can tell they are fighting their demons. So y'all, you know, I've had a crush. I've liked a person. I've looked up their Twitter, but like, I have never had limerence. In the same way that when I tap my finger 5 times on my cheek because it feels good, I don't have OCD. You know what I mean? Like, OCD is different than all of us who are like tapping our fork in a particular way before we can eat food, you know? So I would caution us before understanding like limerence is like, it's devastating, I think. You know, that's why Dr. Kirkhonda was recently just talking about OCD being one of the most crippling, intense mental disorders basically you can have. And John Green talks about it like it is crippling. It is like, I have to go to the doctor. Something's obviously fucking wrong with me. You know what I mean? Versus like this other version of what we think it could be, which is why it was cool to watch Joey talk about it on Love's Blind. So yeah, shout out to all the people who've experienced limerence and all these other things. It's like, you know, depression isn't sadness, right? Like people are like, oh, I've been depressed. We've all been depressed. You haven't been depressed, dude. You've been sad. So I caution you from identifying with words that might be inappropriate, but I also understand why us who research a lot, we run into the mistake of maybe thinking this is an experience we're having without understanding like, ooh, what it actually could be. It's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, shout out to my limerence girlies. I feel for you. You can get out of this, you know, but sometimes people really lose themselves to it, you know? It's devastating, bro.
I really wasn't. It was the feedback I started getting, like on even DMs about it, like because people had at this point figured out that we were together. We hadn't like hard launched or anything yet, but people just started like DMing me and like tagging me and things, and I just started seeing a bunch of stuff that, and like people just like being like, yeah, like, and I just started realizing like, oh my God, if we ever do, when we hard launch, I will, first of all, I just love this person. Like I love.
Imagine, Chad says I had a conversation with somebody a while back asking if I've ever been in love or if I had only had limerence, and I reflectively said limerence, which sounds wrong the way you describe it. Someone in my life once said that to me, like, oh, do you think you're in love with this person or do you think it's limerence? I do not experience limerence in any capacity. When I've seen limerence on someone's face, guys, it is like a Miyazaki cry scene in a movie where they're like, like imagine that they're like, I have to be with this person, or like, you know, it's like this. It's like they're, oh my God, my face just got so red doing that. It's like their whole world, like your whole world, like your whole identity, everything about yourself, it's not good. It's like my heart shatters for those people because they are in a spiral of their own, like they're in a loop. It's very scary. Like it's very scary. And I've seen it in people that become like so like addicted with that person. It's like, so you have, it's like the difference between like, I don't know, psychosis or something else. It's like, these things are so different. And my heart, I'm just like, when I see people suffering in this way, I'm just like, I almost want to take them and pull them out of it, but you can't. They eventually pop out of it, or they don't. They lose themselves to it forever, right? It's like, you know what I mean? Chat says, reminds me of BPD, favorite person, as in similarities, but not that they're equal. Yeah, it can be something like that. Actually, as a borderline person, I've always really struggled with identifying favorite person. I definitely I struggle because when I hear about favorite person, I think about the extremes of it. I don't think I've ever really experienced it except with fictional characters, which I've talked about on chat before. I have absolutely had favorite characters, like an obsession with book characters, like an obsession, but I've never had it with like real life people, which is like very interesting. So, you know, all of us are having a different experience, but yeah, I think Becca is just going through like a pretty basic breakup. And I think she's having an experience, which is so valid. And a lot of us have gone through this, but yeah, my caution to everybody is it's okay to self-diagnose or to think you're heading in a direction, but don't give yourself a bigger burden than you need to carry, because you won't find the right resources if you do that. So the greatest thing about labeling ourselves correctly is making sure we're not taking on an identity that doesn't apply to us and then seeking out the wrong tools. That's why when I got my autism diagnosis, I was like, please, for the love of God, you have to make sure this is the right diagnosis, because I don't want to then go and collect the wrong tools. And I accept that I could always be wrongly diagnosed, but as long as my doctors are serious about the diagnosis, as long as like we are serious about our diagnoses, then we can get the right tools. But if somebody's OCD and they get diagnosed with BPD, like that's going to be a problem, right? And that's why with women, especially femme-presenting people, we have to be on top of our own medical care a lot of the time, because doctors will write us off as, oh, you're depressed, you're anxious, it's PMS, it's all these things, when we're really suffering. We're really suffering out here. And I want you guys to be able to suffer less, you know, for sure. Okay, let's go back to Becca.
My girlfriend, she was about to me, so it wasn't my girlfriend yet, we're just exclusive, but like, and I just want to be with her. I'm realizing that I'm getting myself into like a web of an online narrative that is going to be hard to like get away from, because none of these people have been able to get away from it. And it's easy to say things like, just shut your phone off. Like, why do you have to you don't have to look at all of this stuff. It's different when you're in it. first of all, some of it is like involuntary, like seeing this stuff, like a lot of it was involuntary. Like I'm scrolling on Twitter and it's like Becca watching this episode right now, like, and then like memes about myself that I'm scrolling through my feed on the day that it went up. And I'm just staring at my ceiling and I'm like, fuck, she warned me that this is going to be hard. And like, I supported her and I don't want to take that back. Like I support her. But this is actually fucking hard. Like this is actually hard. What do? I don't know. Like who can I ask for advice on this? I'm alone. So
I wonder how much of her friend group was also kind of Shannon's friend group. Like I wonder if she had a friend group she could really go to.
oh my God, I feel like I'm back in time. That night, she calls me and I'm like, I have to hold it in. Like at this point, I'm like, I want to prove to this girl that I'm emotionally secure enough to handle this because I want to fit into her life and I want our relationship to be seamless. And like, I know what went wrong with her other relationships and I know that it was very hard for them. And now I'm like,
oh,
I understand why. Like, I understand. I think
Is she the fourth victim in the line of Shannon's ex-girlfriends? Is Shannon, what's her name from the L Word? Not Jenny. What's her name? The hot one. Like, is that what's happening? Are we just dealing with L Word, like toxicity here? Is that what's happening? Is Becca just the fourth victim and Shannon's like Shane? Yeah. Is Shannon Shane? Is that what's happening? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Just from like, I just have hindsight now and I'm like, wow, I understand so much now. But, I wanted to be the one that could handle it. And I wanted to be with her. She was my best friend. And she's also a woman. So like when it's a girl, you're like, I just see so many dimensions in you. And like, I understand why you do the things you do. And we're just so emotionally connected and we're so close at this point that like, I am your partner and like, I understand you. And it's like, if this were a man, I think it would just be a very different story, I think. But,
we should deconstruct that.
So the day the podcast episode went out, she calls me and she's like, it's doing so well. Like, yay. Look at my page. Like, this is crazy. Like, she's like, okay, tonight I'm taking you out to dinner. We're going to celebrate. And I'm like, celebrate? I want to die. I'm literally staring at the ceiling. Like, I feel like Bella and Newman, not even Bella and Newman, like a meme where like the girl is like, oh, like her hair, like bags under her eyes. Her hair is crazy. Like, I'm just like,
wait, my podcast is doing well. Let's go out and celebrate. Ooh, that's what kind of a person? I never think about. That's not a thought that's ever crossed my mind. Ooh, my podcast is like, even if my podcast got like 7 million views, I wouldn't think let's go celebrate. I'd be like, okay, cool. I'm going to go back to work now. Wait. Oh, interesting. My pod's doing great. Let's go celebrate. Ooh, I'm getting like, I could be wrong. I'm getting superficial. I'm getting shallow. I'm getting validation seeking. I'm getting pamper myself because I did my job well. I'm not that you can't celebrate your wins at work, but I feel like a podcast doing well or even going viral, maybe that's your threshold. But for me, that's like not my threshold. I feel like celebrating that work went well is if I just deposited like $1 million in my account. Otherwise, just sounds like I'm going to work today, girls. But maybe that's me. Like I could imagine if like we made a shit ton of money, maybe I'd be like, oh my God, like, yeah, but like realistically, it's like, okay, like, I guess, but going out to celebrate sounds a little bit like it could be either super egotistical or it could be something else. I'm not sure. Chad says I give myself treats when I accomplish work tasks. Wait. That's different. No, girl. I love to give myself a cookie. I'm like, you can have a 3rd cup of coffee. I'm like, oh my God, thank you, me. No, that's different. I love a little treat, a little work treat, a little bit. Good job. Here's your, you can watch Netflix for the next 3 hours. I love a little treat. Okay. I love a little treat. Chat says, what about celebrating a promotion at work? No. All of that is vibes, but listen to the context. My podcast is doing well. Let's go celebrate. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different vibe to me. That is a completely different vibe to me. But maybe it's not to them. Maybe that is the same, but that doesn't feel like the same to me. It doesn't feel the same. I'm like, I'm not sure what you think that means, but I could be wrong. I just don't get the same vibe from like, oh, I got a raise at work. I finally got this promotion. I just made partner at my firm. Like, that is beautiful. You know why? Ooh, this is what it is. You work really hard for those things. Shannon exploiting her ex-girlfriend on a podcast to bring in views doesn't feel like she worked very hard for that. You know, it's not like she was grinding for months to build up. You know, it's like if you had 1 million subscribers, you were grinding. If you just like, hey, can my ex come on my pod, and everybody loves drama, so my podcast is doing well, let's go get a drink. I'm not getting it, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. So again, as far as she knew, this is my fault because I was holding everything in, right? Like, as far as she knew, I was like able to handle this, and I was like supporting her, and like, I'm not gonna take it back now. Like, I gotta pull it together. My girlfriend, or the woman she's about to be my girlfriend, had a huge, awesome day at work, and I have to get it together. So I go to dinner and we're eating sushi, and like she is just like on cloud nine, this girl, and I'm just like tears like falling into my roll or whatever. I'm just like not eating, and she's like, what is wrong with you? And I didn't want to make it about me and like my thing. Also, like at this point, because we had gotten through that hard time a month in.
When your relationship starts off hard, girl, it's going to end hard. Okay? In my opinion, if it's hard when you're not even dating yet, I've been there, done that, never worked out for me personally. Okay? You're 6 months into the relationship and it's hard. You know what I'm saying? You know? Chat says, were they broken up at this point? That's weird. No, I think they haven't even started dating yet. Like, this is the beginning of the relationship. This is like the begin. This is like they haven't even really started dating yet. This is the beginning. This is a month after that awkward time at the bar, and she kept still seeing Shannon, even though there was a red flag, and now there's more red flags, and she can't talk about it. This is the beginning, girl. We're at the right. That's what I'm understanding. Because she said the thing at the bar happened at the start of the relationship, right? And she said this was a month after that incident. Am I getting the timeline wrong? That's what I heard. Because she said at the beginning of the relationship, there was an incident and it should have been enough for me, but it wasn't. Right? Uh-oh. See, she's being too vague for me. I need like some visuals on the screen here.
I wanted it to be for the long haul. Like, I wanted that hard time to be for a reason.
Okay, thank you, chat. It was at the beginning. Thank you. Yeah. And she also said soon to be girlfriend. Thank you, chat. Thank you, chat.
And I was scared if I told her that I was struggling with like the DMs I was getting and like stuff I was seeing on Twitter and stuff. I was scared if I told her I would like lose her. And I just felt like I didn't know what to do. I just felt alone. And I wish that I had just said everything. I think by the end of that night, I was like, she pried it out of me, but it took her like 2 hours. And that's when she was like, you can't bottle things up like this. And I was like, you're so right. Like, I'm sorry that stopped me from doing that. No, I kept bottling things up our entire relationship, honestly. But like, side note, I went to dinner, like a Rachel Kirkconnell's brand dinner, because she just launched a line of dresses with Shopo. And when I watched Rachel's episode of when she was on Call Her Daddy and she was like talking about her relationship that had like unexpectedly ended, I just felt like I resonated with that so much, which was like not in the content, like it's not like our relationship was like too I don't want to speak for Rachel, I don't know, it more in the sense of like I just felt like I had to bottle things up and apologize for things in order to keep our relationship running. Like, I would be so upset about something and then bottle it up, then I would end up apologizing. That was the entire dynamic of our relationship.
Maybe she's a people pleaser. I don't know if that's a correct categorization for her. But yeah, if she has, chat said it perfect, when you're scared to talk to your partner, run. Yeah, like if you're scared to talk to your partner, but then maybe that's also on her, separate from Shannon. Like, why does she do that? Is she a people pleaser? Why is she doing that? Has she talked about it in therapy? What makes her want to bottle it up? Because obviously Shannon's not the reason she bottles it up. This is probably a trait she had before Shannon, or maybe not. Maybe it started coming up with Shannon, but I doubt it. I have a feeling it started before.
And it was just me like being embarrassed for being upset because I signed up for this. I kept staying. Like, I wanted it to work and I loved her. She was my best friend. And I didn't want to lose her. So
for the record, everyone that I've ever dated, nobody got the title of best friend. Do you know, when I say I married my best friend, nobody has ever earned that title but her, because he's amazing. When I dated all my past partners, when I lived with them, nobody got that title. The fact that she keeps calling Shannon was her best friend, that wasn't your best friend, girl. That was not your best friend. When I say I married my best friend, I mean, I had never met them before. So the fact that she keeps calling Shannon her best friend, that's not your best friend. That's not your best friend. That's not what people mean when they say marry your best friend. That's not your best friend. That's not your best friend.
That was just kind of like the tone on my part for a long time. And I can only speak, by the way, from my perspective. My ex isn't here to defend herself. And so she might have seen our relationship in an entirely different way. This is about myself and like what I did in our relationship. So yeah, we got through that, whatever. We kept dating, happy. But I did notice that we were incompatible in different random ways, like socially, basically. Like I just have like, I don't know. It was, I have to be home at a certain, like I want to go to bed. Like I am down to like go out and have fun, but like I have to go to bed at like midnight. I have like anxiety at night. I don't even know. Like it's just whatever. And I think that like was hurting her feelings. And I don't know. It was just we're just different, like socially. Like she is a goer. She can just do so many things. And I wanted alone. I just wanted to go to bed at night. Like, I don't know. So, and there's just a different topics that I just didn't feel equipped to like bring up or like talk about. Like I didn't even know what to do. Like
Girl,
I didn't want things to be.
Peace and love, Becca. I'm going to need some details, girl. It's very hard as a neurodivergent girly to follow this conversation with I have no visuals on the screen and I'm getting no details of how to follow this string of thought. And I love that for her, but oh my gosh, I'm going to need like, what are the details? You know, also sometimes we have a strict bedtime and have to go bed at a certain time because we're avoiding. And I'm curious about that, you know?
Real. I was living in denial of like a bunch of like different dynamics in our relationship that were not going. I was going up against stuff that I was just too, no, like there was no chance of me like knowing what to do with different things. So,
chat says, thank you for the details. She said she wasn't like this in other relationships and that she stood up for herself. I don't think it's people pleasing. It's how the relationship was set up. Do you think it's because she got in her head about the idea that it's a woman, so women can't mistreat me? Because that's what I mean when we say we pedestal women. I was like, oh, I'm dating a girl. She'll never abuse me the way that a man will. You don't know that, right? Like, you don't know that. So do you think that that's what happened is like, with a man, she's ready to fight back because, you know, they're raised to be pieces of shit. But with a woman, she's hoping she'll be raised better, even though women are raised under the patriarchy and we all have that internalized stuff. Becca has ADHD, she says in the video. Neurodivergent girly. We love her. Neurodivergent queen. Okay, so she's neurodivergent, ADHD. We love her. This is probably a huge struggle. No wonder. My compassion is fully with her. Fully with her.
I didn't want things to be real. Like I didn't want our incompatibilities to be real. I turned on myself and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, I know her friend. And I didn't know which friends, but I was like, these people probably just think that I'm a baby but I'm an annoying baby. That's like her 6-year-old girlfriend who is a party killer. Like not even party killer. It's just that I wanted to leave. And then Shannon would be sad. Shannon would never want me to leave, you know? I don't know. So I just felt like I was going up against, like, I don't know. I just felt like
maybe she was running out of spoons in social situations. Like ADHDers, autistic people, like we run out of spoons. We got to go. Our charger's off. Like we'll be like socializing and all of a sudden it's like out of spoons. You know how many times I've done that at parties? I've been like, woo, 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 woo. And everyone's like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm out. Now I know the language. Now I can say out of spoons, crash. Now I can say, oh my God, like if I don't go home now, I'm about to be a bitch. You know what I mean? But when you don't have the language, they're like, you're a party pooper. When you don't have the language, it's like, oh, you're killing the vibe. And the people have to learn, like, it's so much better when you say, oh, out of spoons, girls, have fun though, out of spoons, I gotta go. And people go, okay, girl, bye. You know, that's so nice when you can say I'm out of spoons and people can go, okay, cool. Now you're not a party pooper. Now we don't feel attacked. And now you don't feel bad going home.
Ill-equipped for, I don't know what to do. And I didn't want things to be, I don't know. And that was just like an argument that we had every once in a while. But for the most part, like we had a happy, healthy relationship. And until we had the same fight over and over again, you know? And
that's not good. If you're having the same conversation, the same argument over and over again, ooh, that's a yellow flag at least. And then graduates usually to a red flag.
I was just turning avoidant. Like that was my coping mechanism, was to avoid. It was to, when there was a conflict that I knew, the truth is I was scared to like lose her. So it made me like avoid conflict because
This is why I say, in a philosophical sense, fear is the root of all evil. When you do things out of fear, it's never, and it's, now let me rephrase. When you do things out of fear, it's always at the expense of self. It's always at the expense of your joy. She was afraid to lose Shannon, so she stopped herself from finding her joy. Once you get into the point where like, I'm not afraid to lose you, I'm afraid of being trapped in a relationship where I feel alone. And so instead of moving off that fear, I'm going to aim towards my joy. And I'm not afraid of making even that mistake because I know that I'm moving with my joy. So if you move with your joy and you're still not in the greatest position, okay, that's life. We can keep moving towards our joy and get into a better one, but it doesn't have to come from a place of fear. Like, I'm afraid of losing Shannon, so I'll cling to her tighter and deny myself agency. And then this creates what we see now. And this isn't her fault. This isn't Becca's fault. This is very human, very normal, very typical for all of us, that because we're afraid, we end up ruining our lives in different ways. It's like a parent that's so afraid for a kid, they push them away because of how much they try to protect them. This type of fear is not good, you know, but she's not at fault for having this very normal experience, right?
I was scared if I verbalized something, it would be real and she wouldn't want to be with me anymore. So, because I just like, every time I would bring up like the first fight that we had, like the first thing that happened like a month in, then she kept just saying to me like, Becca, like you have to, if we are going to have a successful relationship, you have to let me know if you can handle these things. And I was like, I can't.
That narrative, like, can you handle this relationship? Can you handle this? I do feel icky around those words because it feels like a challenge. And it also feels like you're weak if you can't. Like, can you handle my love? Can you handle my dynamic? Can you handle this thing? I'm not a big fan of that language. That's why I say, like, go for joy, go for wholesome, go for loving, go for, you know, that way when life gets bad, you know, we handle life together. It's not the relationship. Is Shannon asking her, can you handle me at my worst? Then you don't get me at my best. Like, I'm not a vibe. I'm not handling my partner when they're chronically ill. My partner's not handling me when I'm chronically ill. We're not handling each other. We're loving each other through the pain. And we're also not taking it out on each other. I feel like sometimes when people say, can you handle me at my worst? They're taking it out on their partners. We do not take our pain out on each other. And I feel like that's a red flag, girl. It's a red flag.
And I can't. I have to let go. I have to like not be, I don't know. I just don't think I got it out. Like, I think I just like held it in for too long. And I just assumed that everything I was upset about or everything that I didn't like, because she had had all of these long relationships with all these people, I was like, it worked with them. Like, why am I not, like, why? Like, I feel like I just can't handle it.
Wait, chat says, and the thing that happened a month in is Becca later admits was Shannon going home with someone else at the bar when she was there. Oh. Were they dating at that point, or were they just like, was she just interested and then she went home with somebody else? Did she cheat? Or did she just like make it clear she wasn't prioritizing Shannon? I don't understand. Or Becca, was the issue, were they, because they weren't dating yet, right? So is that like not allowed? Like, is she not allowed to go home with somebody else? Or was it cheating? That's what I can't figure out.
I am like really struggling, and like it's making me depressed with like these conflicts because I feel like I can't say anything, and I'm confused on like if I'm imagining things, if I'm.
Oh, and that's why she said if it was a guy, I would just take it like he's not serious about me. Yeah, maybe. Well, I don't know, man, because we've been debating this in Love is Blind with Dave, going after Lauren for having a friends with benefits before going on the show. Like, what does this matter? Becca says in her latest video, they were talking, but not exclusive, but it was in front of her, basically. I'm too sex positive to think that this is a red flag, but I would say that it might be a sign that she's a fuck girl. She's just is she a player? Because like, sure, you can do this as a player, because if they were talking, right, like maybe that's why it's not serious. Like, I would say you're probably not that serious about a romantic courting relationship if you're like talking to somebody but fucking other people. Right? I would say that I agree with, but I don't like the implication that like, yeah, I guess it's different scenarios. Okay, these are different scenarios than Lauren having a friends with benefits before she went on Love is Blind. Like, I think that is different. But I think if you're seeing a girl and you're talking to her and you're sleeping with other people, then you might be indicating or signaling non-seriousness with relationships, you know? Yeah, I would agree with that. Like once I started courting my partner, like once we were even slightly serious, I cut off everybody else that I was even casual with. Like everything went away because now this human being is in my life and they're important to me. So I could see why that's so hurtful to Becca and a red flag in the beginning, which conveys like a non-seriousness from Shannon. Okay, I get it now. Thank you.
I just felt so in confusion, and it would like make me avoidant, and because I didn't want to have conflict, and it was making me like depressed. And it was like, I'm sure to her, like just unexplainable depression, and like I don't know. And that was probably hard for her to deal with, like the avoidance. Like I totally understand. Like I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to keep our relationship. Like I didn't want to lose her. I'm just gonna flash forward. Like there's really no point in like going into every single one of our random like little disagreements, whatever. But I'm just gonna talk about like what actually caused us to end. Was we came home for Thanksgiving, and my family like fell in love with her. And my family was like, oh my God, this is the person you're gonna be with. Like, and I was confused because like I don't know, we had been having like the social argument, like the same argument a lot, but I did feel like it was something that we could figure out, honestly. We get home for Thanksgiving, I'm like, this is my girlfriend, like, and it's my first time bringing a girl home, and so just that's kind of scary in itself, but whatever. My family loved her, like literally loved her. They were like, this is a person for you, I've never seen you this happy. And honestly, I don't think I've been that happy in a relationship. Like I loved her, I really did. But then we go out one night. So like we're with my family, and then we like drive up to Columbus to like go out with my friends from Columbus for the day. And I don't know, I could just tell something was off the entire day. And we're sitting there at a restaurant, and then she just kind of like is very upset at me about it's just the same fight that we had been. I don't know. So then I just shut down. And I'm like, I can't talk. Like I don't talk.
This is 100% ADHD communication right here, girl. My girl, this is ADHD right here with Peace and Love. The way she story tells, it's like, I love it. I married an ADHDer. I get it. I'm pretty sure I have ADHD. Total, I get it. It's just making me laugh. Like, you know, okay. I love it. I love her. Okay.
I'm just like refusing to engage in this argument. And we also had been drinking all day, and like, I don't know. We go back to my Airbnb, and I'm like, fuck, she's like meeting my family. Like we have Thanksgiving tomorrow. Like, oh my God, we just got in a huge fight.
Stress, bro, stress.
How are we going to make up? Like, how is this even going to be fixed? And she just kept saying like, you want to break up with me. Like, I can tell you want to break up with me. And I was like, what? I think that she wants to break up with me. But then I was like, okay, well then I guess, I don't know. Like, what do we do? I think it might be over now. Because why are you like, and then that is something that she would kind of sometimes bring up, like, you want to break up with me, I can tell. And I would be like, I do? I don't think so. I don't think so. And then she basically said something like, we don't have to like tell the internet right away if we break up.
What?
And that's when I was kind of like, you want to break up with me, don't you? I didn't say that. Again,
it's just like self-sabotage. Like, make Becca break up with Shannon so Shannon doesn't have to take responsibility for breaking up with Becca. Bro.
Silent, but I don't know. We go to bed. Again, we had been drinking all day. So we wake up in the morning, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to. She like leaves the Airbnb. She comes back, brings me like a latte, and then we go eat salads, and we don't talk about the fight that we had the night before. And I was like, I don't know if she even remembers it. Like, maybe I exaggerated that in my head to be.
I don't even know if she remembers it. Were you guys drinking? Confused?
A bigger fight than it was. And then we had to go have Thanksgiving with my family.
Okay, see these conversations? When I tell you I don't fight in my marriage, this is what I mean. We don't have stories like this. Okay? We'll be married 2 years in August. I don't have any stories like this. In my past relationships, oh girl, I got stories for days. In my past relationships, I have stories for days. But in this marriage now, I'm telling you, we don't fight. We don't have these stories. We don't have like, oh man, it was really uncomfortable. And then I had to wake up and see my mom in the morning and she knew something was off. Nope. We don't have those stories. One, we communicate very well, which a lot of you pointed out in chat. This is a communication issue. Communication, part of high compatibility, right? But let me tell you, when I was in my 20s, I've been here. I've been in dynamics like this where it's like, I'm confused. Like, it feels like so confusing and overwhelming. And oh my God, the amount of life I spent triggered. I couldn't even tell you, you know? But this is such an important conversation to have for all of us, to know that like, this isn't what you want in life, but it is what happens in life. It's not what you're aiming for, but man, it's sometimes where we end up, right? Chess says, yeah, she said they were drinking. Okay, thank you. Okay, so they were drinking. It's hard for me to just talk about needing visual cues, girl. It's hard for me to keep track of all the details and run the stream, but thank you for that, guys. I really appreciate you keeping me on point with the details. I really feel for Becca because this isn't the most abnormal we get into toxic relationships, right? And we don't understand how we got here, but somehow it's happening and it's awkward. Now we have to go see our family and it's like, what the fuck? And trust me, I was always the kind of person that I could never hide it on my face when I had a fight with my partners. I cannot hide that. I can't hide it when I'm angry. Like I can't hide it when I'm sad. I'm not a good liar. Like that's what I mean. I'm not even good at lying, bros. So my mom can always tell if I just answer the phone a certain way, she'll be like, what's wrong? What is it? I'm very much that friend where it's like, you know, so I feel for Becca here. What an awkward situation.
And she had been such a saint all week with my family, and she was again, and my family fell in love with her, and she's playing with these kids. And that's when I'm like starting to remember, and she's just so good with kids. And I was like, she is 32, about to be 33. Now she's 33. But we just got a huge fight last night, and like everyone's saying that we're supposed to be together. Well, I didn't tell my family that we fell out the night before. Like I don't know. Every relationship has problems. Like I didn't, but seeing her with the kids, I was like, I don't think I can get on like her timeline. Not that she was never even pressuring me to have kids. She never even said like, let's have kids together. Let's blah, blah, blah. But we had been dating at this point for a year. So it was like, I don't know. You kind of just start thinking about that stuff and seeing her with kids. This is my first time seeing her with kids ever. So then it just started hitting me and I was like, fuck, she's like 33. I'm 26. What do I do? Like, I'm not ready to have kids. Also, a little bit of me hadn't mourned the old-fashioned way of having children, and we had never even talked about it. So that night, I was acting weird ever since that fight that we had the night before. We're going to bed that night, and she's like, why is your family, like, falling deeper in love with me, and you seem to be, like, avoidant? And I was like, okay, the kid thing. Like, I'm really concerned. I didn't want to talk about the fight from the night before because I didn't want to, like, embarrass her. I don't know. Like, it was just, like, I didn't want to, like, again, I also just wanted to keep our relationship running smoothly. But I thought maybe if I brought up the kid thing, she would, I don't know, talk about maybe the fight that we had the night before. I'm not really sure. I brought up the kid thing mostly in my head, honestly. It was the age thing, the timeline. And a little bit of compet. It's been ingrained in me for 26 years. When I said the baby thing, she was like, oh my God, yeah, no, totally. Like, don't even worry about that. That's not even like, I'm not even trying to have kids anytime soon. I was like, oh, okay, awesome. I was worried to tell her that, but like, she didn't care. She was like, same, literally. She said she struggles with that too. So it wasn't a conflict ever. And it wasn't even something that we ever like disagreed on. And it wasn't something that she was ever like, you better get on board soon because I want to have kids soon. It was not even a conflict in our relationship at all. She never was like, like
did she even want kids?
I wanted to keep dating her. And it was like, whatever. But yeah, seeing her with the kids, I think it was just maybe like a gut thing. Like, I don't know if I can see myself.
You know, I just want to say this out loud as your 35-year-old internet auntie. Sometimes you don't need to explain why it's not working. Sometimes you just need to break up. Sometimes we look for reasons why relationships didn't work out. And sometimes you're not ready to verbalize it because you don't even know internally. But these kinds of heavy doubts, these constant, like it's not going to happen in high compatibility situations. You're not going to have to, if it's not a vibe, it's not a vibe. Even if this person is amazing, even if it's the greatest person you've ever met, if they're not your person, they're not your person. And like sometimes we just put so much pressure on ourselves to come up with a reason why we had to break up with them because society, well, why'd you break up? Well, why'd you do this? Well, why'd you do this? Because I wanted to, because it was the best thing for me. Well, why? I just told you why. It was the best thing for me. Okay, but why? That's private. Sometimes you don't even know why yet, but when you figure it out, you'll have your reasons and they don't need to know about it. Obviously, these people were in high compatibility. Otherwise, we wouldn't be seeing this video, girl. Like, that's just the truth of it. I'm sorry.
In time, on your timeline, because she was 33, or about to be 33, getting on board with seeing this as my future, the mother of my children, right? So I think it mostly had to do with the fight that we had the night before. So we go home, we keep dating, but this fight that we had never resolved was just in the back of my head the entire time. We kept dating for like weeks.
Chet says it's not just as simple as compatibility, though. I'm not sure what you mean by that. In this channel, in this community, when we talk about high compatibility, we're talking about values. And so we're talking about how you see life, how you want to have kids, what you think about the world, what you think about the meaning of life. Like when we talk about high compatibility on my channel, we're talking about the you that is you and the them that is them and whether or not you're on the same page. We're not talking about some silly, oh, we both like cherry pie. Girl, this ain't about pie, girl. This is about values. This is about some serious shit, okay? This person's going to wipe your ass when you get Alzheimer's. We're not playing around. I know the world plays around because we're all evolved animals on a planet and we all just be fucking. But when it comes to serious courtship, it's not just about whether or not we like the same anime. Though that's very important. It's not just about that, you know? So I feel like this is just a normal run-of-the-mill, lacking of compatibility relationship that ends up here. But like, this is what the world's trained you for. The world has trained you to go through this relationship a billion trillion times because they don't teach us how to date. They don't teach us how to court. They don't teach us how to ask good questions. They teach us to avoid hard questions until 6 months into the relationship. The joke, did you guys see that joke on Love is Blind though? Where Ben and Sarah were talking to the lesbians and they were like, oh, I feel like we're so close. We asked each other questions you would never ask on a third date. And then the sister-in-law was like, unless you're a lesbian. And there's a joke about that. But just because you're having hard conversations date one doesn't mean you're wise enough to even know the value of those conversations. Right? And remember, we're psychological creatures. So we might think, oh my God, I'm so close to this person. We're talking about some deep shit. Look, if you're autistic, right? There's that meme. I never felt so seen except when I dated an autistic girl because she asked me questions no one's ever asked me. Yeah, just because you think we're having a moment doesn't mean we are. Doesn't mean we are, you know?
Supposed to come on my podcast this week to do to show my new studio. I just couldn't get over this fight, to be honest. Like, it was really bothering me. And I had been bottling it up. She was like, why are you acting cold? And this fight had been something that I had been having with myself in my brain for probably 2 to 3 weeks at this point when she brought this conversation up. It was me being like, once I say this to her, she's going to see what...
Okay, hold on, pause. I will say I was in a relationship once where I would just like switch and be so depressed because I'd be like, is this going to be the rest of my life? And my partner would say things like, I can't be with somebody who's like always depressed. But it wasn't just that I had depression. They didn't like that I was unhappy with them, which is fair, but they refused to engage with the fact that they were a contributing factor to the feeling. And that's when you feel alone in a relationship. You feel so alone in a relationship when you're like, something's obviously wrong. Don't you see it? And they're like, nothing's wrong. This is what love is. For Shannon to look at Becca and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why are you being so sad? Why are you being distant? And Becca's just looking at her like, I'm not in this alone. This fight didn't happen alone. I wasn't alone during that conversation, but I feel alone because you're not even willing to recognize that we were fighting. They're like, there's something wrong here. There's nothing, like, there's no way, like, you feel the most alone when you're looking at a blue elephant in the room and everyone keeps telling you it's pink. It's blue, girl. But everyone's going to make you feel crazy because they all see it as pink. Maybe they do, but the fact that you see it as blue, you know what? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes maybe you're the crazy one, but maybe you're just the one who's seeing it clearly. Okay.
What I'm talking about, she's going to say, oh my God, like, let's figure this out. She's going to come up with a solution and we're going to compromise and we're going to get through this. Because I think that we're supposed to be together. Everyone loves my girlfriend. I love my girlfriend. Could it get better than this, right? I was turning on myself and being like, I need to get over this because I have to. And I don't want to lose my girlfriend. She's my best friend. But I think she doesn't like when I bottle things up, so I have to tell her. I didn't know that it would be the end of our relationship. I had no idea. I said, she was like, you're being avoidant. And I was like, okay, I've had this fight with you in my mind so many times. You're going to compromise with me. It's going to be okay, Becca. Just get it off your chest. Just say it. So I said, I'm still upset about the fight that we had in Columbus. And she said, let's just give up. Because she was like, I can't be with someone that you held it in for so long.
Wait, didn't that just happen? Wait, pause. Wasn't Columbus at her family gathering and then she went, did she hold it in for a while before she talked about it? Because Columbus was seeing her friends during the family holiday. So how long did she hold it in? I'm confused.
And I was like, I know, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. Like, let's give up. She did say, like, yeah, I do feel like you need more relationship experience. Like, you need...
No! Red flag. When someone tells you you need more relationship experience, first, like, why are you even dating somebody then? Because that means they weren't wise. So Shannon was either not wise enough not to pick Becca, okay? But, like, also, no, it's not about relationship experience, guys. I'm telling you, it's not about that. But the fact that she said that tells me that she's even more fucked up because you're the person who's older who should have enough experience not to have picked Becca. So what's your excuse? No, it's not about relationship experience. It's about, yes, life experience. It's about wisdom. It's about love. But also, like, at this point, more of the responsibility will fall on Shannon if we're pointing fingers at anybody, not on Becca. You don't blame the ignorant person. You blame the person who claims to know better. So if Shannon's sitting here and saying, I knew better, I'm old, I'm smart, you're the one who doesn't have experience, then why'd you pick her? Why'd you pick her?
To know what it's like to be in a long-term relationship. And, like, I do feel like there is a power imbalance here. Like, I feel like I know more than you on, like, what it's like to be in a relationship. So I was like, you're right. Like, I don't know, I just feel like inequipped. I don't feel like, I just feel like I'm doing everything wrong and I'm trying to be good and perfect. Not even perfect because I wasn't perfect at all. But, like, I was just trying to bottle everything up to keep things running smoothly. And, like, it was just, everything was going wrong. Like, I felt like I was doing everything wrong. And I had to keep apologizing to her. And, like, I didn't know what to do to make things.
Does Shannon ever take responsibility? Was there any point where Shannon actually, like, held herself responsible except to say that, oh, I'll work on it, but then never did? It's like, I know we're hearing Becca's perspective. Maybe Shannon will make a podcast, but it just feels very much like Becca's always at fault. How is it that Becca's always at fault?
Things good. Like, I don't know. I was like, why are things falling apart? Like I am doing everything wrong. She's smarter than me and, like, older than me. I don't know. And I'm a fucking TikToker. And, like, I don't know. I just felt like a baby idiot TikToker. Like, that was just like I don't know. Even though she does content too.
But you have a job, girl. Stop. Oh my God, Becca. Girl. Look at her. She feels bad about her job, feels bad about her success. Like, who made Becca feel this bad about herself? I mean, obviously we all play a role in how we feel about ourselves, but, like, what is this? Like, you know what I mean? But she's young. She's in her mid-20s. Of course you're going to doubt yourself, right?
It wasn't even that. It was mostly just, like, I just felt I didn't have any relationship experience and I didn't know what I was doing. And she was like,
okay,
yeah.
Stop saying that. She dated guys before this. You did have relationship experience. I'm so sick of gay communities falling for some fucking bullshit narrative we fed ourselves. Oh, she doesn't have dating relationship history because she didn't date a girl. What the fuck are we talking about? She has dating, like, experience. And even if she didn't, that's not the reason. Listen, plenty of successful relationships exist where people don't have technical dating experience. I don't believe in this myth. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. I don't. I refuse to engage with it because it's bullshit. If Shannon was so experienced, then why did she make the mistake of dating Becca, who had no experience?
Like, you need more. I, though, was not ready to break. I did not expect that. So I was like, it was also hard.
So Shannon puts Becca in a position to feel shitty about fighting. So she's like, it's your fault, Becca. Now we have to break up, Becca. And Becca goes, no, wait, I don't want to break up. And Shannon goes, well, too late. We have to break up. And then Becca goes, okay, I guess, but no, I want to still fight for this relationship because now you're right. Like, I'm the reason it's breaking up. I hate this dynamic. I hate the toxicity. I hate it. I feel for Becca. I really do. Assuming we're taking her at face value, I really fucking hate everything about the story. And I hate this toxic like dynamic. I hate it. I hate it for everybody. Again, taking Becca at face value, my heart goes out to her.
Because I was so afraid of verbalizing how I felt because I was scared of losing her. So to get confirmation of that, I told her how I felt, and now I'm losing her because of it.
Exactly. You're punished if you hold it in. You're punished if I tell. Shannon said, stop bottling it in and tell me. So Becca tells her and she goes, break up. So she's punished if she doesn't tell her. She's punished if she does tell her. Well, fuck me. Am I right?
It was just like has just been a mind fuck for me where I'm like, ow, no. Like, so then I was like, oh, also like when she said, let's just give up, I was like, yeah. Also, I'm not ready to have kids and I haven't unlearned compet. So this is good. Like, this is good. And I even like said that out loud to her and she was like, yeah, like, let's just give up. So then obviously recorded that like haunted podcast, and there was just so much online narrative about our relationship that I was scared of like it being taken and ran with for people to be like, oh, like I bet one of them, like, I don't know. I just didn't want it to. So I was like, what if I offer up the baby thing as a reason? And she was like, okay. And then we recorded it, and I remember feeling...
I hate the fact that Shannon even let Becca get on a podcast and create a fib around the breakup. Or create a narrative that wasn't true. It would have been better for them just to be like, we don't need to make this public. But instead, Shannon, like, just no care and love or consideration for Becca.
Like, I don't know. It doesn't matter now. But I wish that I had asked... I don't even know why I said that, though, because it's just...
Okay, if your relationship is toxic and there's major problems, this is when you talk to your besties, your girls and your gays and their theys. Okay? You know, I always tell you guys, like, what goes on in my relationship stays between, you know, the private, like appropriate channels. Like when your marriage is healthy, you don't talk to people about it. When your marriage is unhealthy, you got to talk to people about it. And the way you know the difference is how in your joy you are. If you're having fights, if you're bickering, if you're feeling alone, if you feel abused, you got to talk to people about it and you got to talk to the right people about it. Okay. When your relationship is healthy, we're not having all these problems. So there's nothing to talk to you about. That's why I don't talk about my marriage to people. There's nothing happening. But if there's something bad happening, like abuse or feeling alone, you got to talk to the right people, maybe even a therapist, somebody like neutral, to make sure you're not, you know, in a bad situation. Because that really kills me that Becca felt so alone. She had no one to talk to.
It's not even why we broke up. We broke up because of that argument that we had in Columbus.
No, you broke up because you're not compatible. Shannon's toxic. You deserve better. You don't even know you deserve better yet. Okay, you have to go to therapy and deconstruct all of these fears you have around you. Shannon is not the end all be all of queer relationships. I'm so sick of these snobby ass queer people. I'm calling my community out. I'm pretending you are above misogyny or because you know it's internalized, girl. You're above abuse. You're above toxicity, girl. This conversation is not for the heteros. This is for us. We are all susceptible to being bad people. It doesn't matter how woke we feel. We have to do the work every day of our lives for the rest of our lives to be good people, because it's we give ourselves too much credit. We got to stop giving ourselves so much credit. Okay. And again, I don't want the heteros to come into my channel and be like, yeah, gay people are abusive. We're not talking to you, girl. Don't make me write a song about you. Don't make me write a list. Don't make me, make a special about you. Go away. Okay. We're talking about our queer communities, uplifting, like Becca said, we pedestal female relationships thinking, well, it's a girl, so she won't hurt me the way boys do, right? That girl was raised under patriarchy. She just might. It
was recorded. I didn't tell my management that I was doing it. The only people that were editing it were me, Shannon, and Shannon's manager. And so Shannon and Shannon's manager are lesbians.
Great. So Shannon's manager, and no one on Becca's side. Cool.
And I just assumed it was okay if these two are like signing off on it and saying it's fine and watching it. Shannon warned me that like every word I said would be dissected and that I needed to get ready for that. And I was like,
Oh, and she so she put out the pod. Like, she didn't say, let's wait a month, let's wait 2 months. Let's wait a second. Shannon, the older, wiser part of the relationship, allowed her on again, off again at the very end of a tail toxic relationship, put this podcast out when they knew they were still figuring things out. Cool. See it? When we point fingers at the older person, because now you're the one who should know better. This is why I say in age gap relationships, the younger people get the benefit of the doubt, because the older people are supposed to have the life experience that allegedly would make them make the wiser decisions. So if you're an older person not making the wiser decisions, what does that make you? This is why we are suspicious of age gap relationships. Because look at Becca saying, I'm young, I'm a baby gay, I'm inexperienced, I'm in my mid-20s, I am fucking up because I'm young. So what is Shannon's excuse? What are these old people doing in these relationships? What's your excuse?
like, I am ready for that. Also, we were still dating. We kept dating for a month after this. So like, I think that
Exactly. What the fuck?
I felt a time crunch because I wanted to get it up because I wanted to hold myself accountable because I knew something wasn't right. I knew deep down that if I had to keep this in to keep our relationship together, it's probably not the right relationship for me to be in. Like and that's fine.
Right.
It's not even like,
Right.
It's just maybe we weren't meant to be, right?
Exactly.
And I knew that, but like, obviously she's my best friend and I was still in love with her and I didn't want to be over yet, but I wanted to.
I can't wait for Becca to meet her real best friend. It's going to rock her socks off. I cannot wait for y'all to meet your real best friend. It is going to change your life. Every concept of love I've ever had never really clicked until I met my actual best friend. When you meet your actual best friend, your partnership best friend, girl, Becca is going to be shook to her core when she realizes, like, oh my God, the way I'm calling Shannon my best friend, she's going to look back on this and think like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh my God, girl, you have no clue. I hope you run into your high compatibility partner in this lifetime. I hope you all do. You know, it is an amazing experience. And it really makes you realize, like, oh, everything I thought I knew, I didn't know that. I didn't know. You know? Oh,
I feel like I had like power in the breakup. Like I wanted to feel like it was me being like all 50-50 breakup. Like it was just my ego, right? Which is so stupid. But yeah, it was my ego and I wanted to feel like I was the one making the decision even though it wasn't. Because I do think that there is a little bit of truth to what I was saying. Like I do think that comp het is something that everyone struggles with. And that is something that like a lot of queer people come to terms with. I just hadn't had enough time to do that. But now but then I'm thinking about it, like, I'm like, when I'm fantasizing about my life with like a celebrity lesbian, I'm like, yeah, I would have any lesbian of my lesbian crushes babies. Like, it's not even like, but I wanted to protect her because I wanted to keep dating her like behind the scenes and I loved her. But I also just wanted to hold myself accountable by posting that. And I had a lapse in judgment and I should have sent it to my management. I don't know why I just blindly was like, okay, yeah, it's fine. Right? It's fine. I did have two of my friends who are queer men watch the episode, and both of them said, "Do not post that, Becca. Like, absolutely do not. It's not even why you're breaking up. Why are you doing that?" And
oh shit! Oh, so somebody did have her back. So people did have her back. Shout out to those friends.
And I said that to my ex, and my ex was like, "Take that with a grain of salt. It's like a struggle that like queer people go through." When it snowballed, I feel like she felt bad for me, so she just kept like dating me and like just like, oh my God, it was just like crazy. I don't know. I think we just weren't ready to break up. Like I wasn't. I just still loved her. Like we just kept dating. Like we didn't stop dating.
Oh my God, my heart is truly breaking for this girl.
I do feel like this is my Trisha Paytas moment of like the eating pasta on the floor, but like whatever. I have to get this out of my body, you guys. I literally can't sleep. Obviously, I got robbed, so that probably has something to do with it. But like I need it out. Like I'm
sorry, what did she just say?
Obviously I got robbed, so that probably has something
Did she just say obviously I got robbed? Did she get robbed?
to do with it. I have to get this out of my body, you guys. I literally can't sleep. obviously I got robbed, so that probably has something to do with it.
I'm sorry, did I miss a chat? I don't follow her like that. Did she just say I got robbed? What? Oh, wronged. Obviously, I got wronged. Oh, thank God. Thank you, guys. I was like, oh my God, what? Okay, thank you.
But like, I need it out. Like, I need the truth to be out. Like, I just am I can't be misunderstood anymore.
No, she actually got robbed? No, she literally got robbed. I heard robbed. Some guy came to her house? Oh my God, what? She got literally fucking robbed? Oh my God, it's on her channel? Oh my God, the anxiety, bro. That's literally every social media. Like, that's every fear we have is like, oh my God, that's crazy. There's a video. Oh my God. Did you guys see Amaranth 2 got broken into? I was going to cover it. That's crazy though. Okay. Thank you guys in chat for correcting because you guys actually watch her channel. Man, Becca's really going through it. I hope she has a really good therapist, a really good support system.
And now I have clarity for myself of like what actually happened. So that's like been such a blessing, but I have to get it out of my body. Like I have to. Maybe I'll regret this, but whatever. When it went so crazy on TikTok and like all those videos all those people were making videos being like, "Dear Becca Moore, I know you don't believe my baby is valid," which obviously is not at all how I feel, and just such like a misunderstanding, and like, but understandable for them to like just if you're just reading info from like comments, I don't know, it's just like I understand. And obviously both me and my ex knew that's not even why we broke up. So I told her like, I don't want you to get canceled. Like I don't want you to get like looped into this. So I think you should try to protect yourself. And that is how I felt. But then it just like kept persisting on. And then I'm walking into like my Christmas dinner with my family and my uncle's like, "Why don't you want to have," like, it's just like, how does obviously I'm on there for you, but like I'm in their algorithm, but like for this to be such a misunderstanding for my entire family to like have questions about it. And by the way, when we broke up, I called my mom and I told her that that's why we broke up. And she was like, "No, it's not. Like, what are you you don't want to have babies with her? What are you talking about?" And then I had to be like, fuck, I probably have to tell this girl the truth that we are fighting. Like I brainwashed myself and I tried to like make that the reason we broke up, but it obviously wasn't.
You know, sometimes you really don't know why you break up with somebody until years later. I think every year I get a little, hopefully wiser, and every year I get a little older, I have more opportunities to really realize like, oh, I thought this was the reason we didn't work out, but realistically, like, this is it. And I learn every day, like, oh, every time I learn something new about myself, and I'm sure you guys feel this way too, you're like, oh, I mean, just getting diagnosed autistic, I'm looking back at my life and I'm like, that's why I did that thing. I thought I did it because of this, but I did it because of this. And I'm like, oh my God. And then you realize like, oh, hindsight really is 2020. So give yourself a chance to really figure it out. That's why I think it is frustrating when people are like, why did you do that? That's a great question. Let me meditate on it for the next 3 months because I actually don't know why yet. I think I know why, but I really got to meditate on it. I really got to think about it. Why did I do this thing? Sometimes you just really need time to process.
That's when my family was like, can you ask her to say something, like make a TikTok or something? And that's when I was like, I don't know. So I was like, yeah, I'll ask. Again, we're still dating at this point. She said, my manager said no.
What?
My manager said that I can't do that, which was frustrating for me because your manager's on your payroll and you pay your manager. That's how managers work. I have managers. Also, they can't tell you what to do. Like they're on our payroll. Instead, she like just sent my family presents. She sent me presents, my family presents, and then I felt bad, so I sent her family a fruit plate because I was like, okay. And then I just forgave her. I was like, yeah, you're right. Okay, you can't say anything; it'll make it worse. She did do like at the end of one of her podcast episodes, she was like, stop telling Becca that she's straight. But to me, that didn't address why we actually broke up at all. And I think that she was just like, didn't want people to think that she...
Damn, does anybody remember my original video on this? Was I nice to Becca? I hope I was. I think I remember as being very nuanced, but I can't remember. I don't think we would never call her straight, right? Like we didn't do that, right? Does anybody remember how we reacted? I'm gonna have to go back and watch my own video now. I think I remember, we're usually very nuanced in our community. So I feel like we were probably very like, yeah, this happens. Like, this is just a part of like deconstruction, right? We're going to have to go back.
He was dating a baby gay or something. I don't know. I think that it was just like, it missed like the point of why people.
You know what? I think we did talk about her being a baby gay because I've known I was gay since I was a baby. So I never had to have a baby gay stage in my life, even though I think you always feel like a baby gay when you enter into the gay community if you start off being a conservative, right? But I would say that, you know, I saw a TikTok about this, like privilege is knowing you were gay as a kid. And I could imagine that being true. I could never imagine being 40 and then realizing I'm pansexual or bisexual. Like, not really. Like, you know, thinking you're straight. Like, I knew I was queer as a kid. Like, I knew I was gay as a kid. I just didn't know what label I wanted, right? But I knew I was interested in girls. Like, that wasn't the mystery. The mystery is, how does this relate to my life? What label fits me now? So yeah, like sometimes we take for granted the privilege of knowing you were gay as a kid. So you didn't have to, it wasn't a question. I never had to question my gayness. I just had to question how my gayness showed up in the world. I never had to question my attraction. But Becca, she's under scrutiny of like, people are questioning, you know what I mean?
People were mad at me, right? And it just, obviously it's not her.
Oh, Chat says I was never gay, but I've always been bisexual. I call everything gay just for language purposes. I call everything gay. So if you're bisexual, you're gay. If you're pansexual, you're gay. But for the sake of this conversation, there might need, I don't know. I feel like it's fucking pretty gay. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's because of the homophobic bubbles I grew up in. Like, you're gay, you're gay. But yeah, I kind of feel like it's all gay for me. So if I say that, that's what I mean. But if you like different words, that's okay too.
Job to protect me because I got myself into this mess and I'm the one that hit post on that podcast episode. But it hurt me, even though we kept dating.
Crazy.
Until the end of January.
It happens. The fact that Shannon, somebody said in chat earlier, the fact that Shannon kept dating her, let her put out this pod, let her get fucking dragged by the internet, and then didn't fucking do anything about it. I'm sorry. That's shit fucking behavior. And I don't mean to come so hard on Shannon because maybe her story is actually more real and Becca's lying, but I doubt it. Becca's giving me authentic. But again, that's really shitty. That is so shitty to be like, your ex is getting dragged for something you know is not true. And you're just letting it happen. Nah.
But there started being like cracks of me being like, why didn't you say anything? Like, just comment on one of these TikToks with 100,000 likes being like, Becca Moore does not see queer babies as, not queer babies, but like queer families as valid. And like,
ugh, that would be so hard to process. I'd have to talk to a therapist for sure. Discord said, I question it being a privilege considering we probably have a different relationship with homophobia from a younger age since we knew or know at a younger age. Well, it's privilege in some ways and disadvantages in others. Look, everybody has privilege. Every single person on this planet has a form of privilege. It just doesn't look the same to everybody else, right? So everybody holds privilege. Everybody has a disadvantage. The question is like, which one are you talking about and which perspective? In some ways, it's a privilege knowing you were gay as a kid. And in some ways, it's a disadvantage because now you have to internalize homophobia and all the other things that straight people who think they're straight don't have to do until later in life. But then think about how hard it would be later in life, realizing like, oh, I think I'm gay, especially if you've been married. That shit is hard. I couldn't even imagine. I'd rather deal with homophobia as a kid than realize I was gay in my 40s. But that's just me. You know what I mean? I'm all like, let me know early. Like autism. Being late diagnosed autistic. Fuck. Like, sure, it was a privilege of not dealing with the stigma of being called autistic, but damn, the disadvantages are so clear in my life. Like, they were so, like, I would rather know as a kid. I would have played the game so different, you know? So everyone's got an advantage and disadvantage, right?
I just kept being like, can you just comment? I didn't say that, but like, it just started making me resent her because I was like, what? Like, we're not, this isn't, I would marry you. Like, she knows I would marry. I wanted, in the beginning of us dating, she was like, if we date, I need you to know if you can like see a future with a woman. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah. I would marry this girl. In the beginning of our relationship, before we started having these corrosive problems, I wanted to marry her. Like, she's my best friend. I loved her. This is not why we broke up at all. It's not even something that I came to the conclusion of and was like, you know what? After dating a woman for a year, now I don't see my future with a woman because right now I'm only interested in women. Today I'm only interested in women. I'm bisexual, probably pansexual. I don't know, but
Let's go,
was like,
queen.
I don't know who I'm going to end up with, and it might be a woman. I don't care about the old-fashioned way of having babies anymore. I literally don't give a fuck. Like, I might adopt kids. I literally don't know what's going to happen. I might marry a woman in a month. And hopefully, actually, fucking no, I won't, because
And also, even if she ends up with a guy, that's none of our fucking business. Whoever she ends up with, it's none of our business. As long as it's her joy.
I'm so heartbroken. But she knows that. And so I was like, your manager's the one that helped me edit this. Like, what? Okay. So I just felt like betrayed by my girlfriend. Obviously, that like small argument started happening about that. But we just kept dating, whatever. And then we're like back in LA together. We're like crying towards the end of January. We're like crying in each other's arms. And we had never said that we broke up, by the way. We had never been able to get ourselves. And we're talking on the phone, even when she's like in New York or like in wherever. She was just like visiting her family.
Messy. This is very messy. We've all been here, on again, off again. Will they, won't they? Keep it going like it's normal. We've all been here. Messy.
We're talking on the phone 24 hours a day. We're still dating. We're like emotionally still together in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
But we just couldn't bring ourselves to be like, we're broken up. We're in LA together. I hadn't seen her in a couple weeks because she was traveling. And we cried together. And then the next morning she has to go on a cruise. And like we're texting. She's like, love you, blah, blah, blah. We keep texting until like she gets on the boat. And she's texting something random about, we're talking about her, like we're just joking around about something. And then I just don't get a reply. And I was like, oh, maybe she probably doesn't have service. She's on a cruise. And so I just kept saying that. And people were like, every time I would like be with my friends that week, people would be like, you guys are still dating, right? Like you're talking or what? And I was like, yeah, we're still dating. And then they would ask more questions. And then I'd be like, oh yeah, we haven't talked to like, I guess in like 24 hours. Oh my God, now it's been 36 hours. Oh my God, now it's been, wait, why hasn't she answered my text? It's not like we were fighting. I don't understand. She just cried in my arms 24 hours ago.
Is it a gay cruise?
I don't get it. And she never said like, let's do no contact. Like, let's not communicate. So I thought she didn't have service for a while. And then she was posting on her Instagram story. So then I just like didn't understand. Also, we hadn't said that we had broken up, you know? So I was like, wait, what? Like, where are you? But I didn't say anything because I was like, I'm not going to be the one to beg for my girlfriend to.
Whoa, already so much toxicity. Wait, Chet says I have a partner and I have a best friend and I love them both, but I kind of think your friends are your friends and your partner is more than your friend. I get confused by the partner equal best friend rhetoric. It's a bubble thing. Everyone has a best friend. I have a best friend. My partner has a best friend. Like we have best friends. But when we say we married our best friend, we're conveying a particular bubble thought. Like when I was younger, there were communities of parents that had marry your best friend. It's like marry the person. Because who's your bestie, girl? My bestie is the bestie of the besties. Like my main bestie, like my 20 plus years bestie, like she is like my sister. She is so fucking everything, right? But she's not the person I'm doing life with. You want that energy in a partner? Plus, let me tell you this. I dated a guy and he was like, when am I going to be as important to you as your bestie? I was like, probably never at this rate, girl. And that's because he wasn't my person. Because nobody had reached that honor spot. It's an honorable spot, girl. My bestie, the girl who's got my back in every capacity, the bestie I can tell anything to, that bestie. When I say I married my best friend, when I say I want her to marry her best friend, I want her to marry me, but better. You know, me, but better. So when I say I married my best friend, I mean, I married her, but better. I married her, but my romantic compatibility. Like that's that's an honor spot. Okay. You're marrying the person you want to tell everything to. But the actual person you can tell everything to, okay? You know what I'm saying? And yes, my best friend and I, there are things we don't tell each other. Because even though we're that close, we're reserving some of those things for our best friend. You know what I mean? Like our other best friend, our romantic best friend. It's just a bubbles thing. I just grew up in my parents used to say that, marry your best friend. They didn't mean I should marry my best friend. They meant I marry somebody that's like your best friend. Like my parents gossip like best friends. They literally tell each other everything. Literally though. Like I literally tell my best friend everything. I don't always get to tell my best friend everything. Best friend, partner, best friend, best friend. Anyways.
Reply to me. Then
okay, let's see.
Is she mad at me? And she ghosted me. Like I
what?
I didn't hear from her
She ghosted?
for 22 days.
I know people who go on cruises. They got Wi-Fi.
I don't know, you guys.
What? Hold on.
She mad at me? Is she mad at me? And she ghosted me. Like I didn't hear from her for 22 days.
Whoa.
I don't know. You guys.
What? Pourquoi? 22 days? 22 days? Ghosting is vile, bro. That's crazy to ghost somebody like that. Ghosting a stranger on Tinder, I don't know. I'm not gonna hold that, whatever. Ghosting somebody in this position, girl.
Yes, I still don't know until I got robbed that night. And that's the night that I also realized that we broke up.
Girl.
Because she was like, "You are my ex-girlfriend." That's what she said on the phone that night. And I was like, "I know, I guess. Yeah, I guess I figured that out 24 hours into you not answering me."
Damn.
But we never said we're broken up,
Which is a little weird for me because I understand they are broken up, but they're on again, off again. This is why it's really like hard to do on again, off again, because you don't know where you stand. What do they call it? What does Gen Z call it? A situationship? You don't know where you stand. Not good. Even if you have a friends with benefits, you should know where you stand.
So, yeah, I had to break the 22 days. And I was so proud of myself for not like asking, why are you ghosting me? Like, I was so proud of myself for like for standing strong and like letting her ghost me, because that's when I was really into my Mel Robbins stuff and being like, okay, my girlfriend is disappeared. My girlfriend disappeared. My girlfriend could be lost at sea right now, except I'm watching her Instagram stories and she seems like she's having a pretty fun time at sea.
Oh my God.
So why isn't she texting me when we literally cried in each other's arms the night before about how much we loved each other?
Damn.
And that's pretty much where the story ends. Like, that's literally all I know. Yeah.
What?
Like,
wait, that's literally the end?
I got robbed, and then I like wanted to go to her house. I remember she was in New York. She like let me stay the night at her house, and I assumed that we would have a conversation when she got back from traveling, because she was in New York for a while. And I don't know, you guys. I was just like, imagine like you're going through a breakup, but you aren't really broken up. Like, you're still talking every day. You're still hooking up. You're still together.
Yep.
But then one day they just disappear with no like, let's not talk anymore conversation. Obviously that's her MO and she's allowed to do whatever she wants. And obviously I was frustrated with her, but I'm mostly frustrated with myself for not asking for clearer boundaries. And like, I should have just been like, hey, do you just not want to talk? But I don't know. I think if I had done that, maybe she would have just started talking to me again. And then like, we would have just prolonged the breakup. Right. So I don't know. I'm just mad at myself for like putting myself, I don't know. I'm just like mad at myself for like gaslighting myself and being like, I should have stood up for myself earlier. She was right. Like when she said, you should stand up for yourself. I should have. I should not have given a scapegoat. I shouldn't have posted that episode without asking more people. I should have asked someone else to look at that episode besides all of Shannon's team. And I did, I guess. My friends, but they told me not to post it. I don't know. There's so many things I wish I could go back in time and fix. I don't know. And it's also frustrating for like being just this non-closure of it all. And then like after I got robbed, she like asked if she wanted to have a conversation when she got back. I left a letter for her at her house. She said she didn't want to have a combo. And I was like, what the fuck did I do to this girl? I mean, also, I will be honest, like the night that I got robbed and she was like, we are ex-girlfriends, I snapped a little bit and I did kind of be like, you ghosted me. Like I felt like the guy in the Notebook, like I waited for you for 365 days.
Girl.
And I basically said like, what? Where did you go? And she was like, honestly, like I didn't think about it. Like I didn't know why I was doing that.
I didn't think about it? That's kind of the problem, Shannon. That's kind of the problem.
And
I'm rewinding.
basically said like, what? Where did you go? And she was like, honestly, like I didn't think about it. Like I didn't know why I was doing that. And as time went on, it was like
selfish.
It felt
What a selfish. Oh, Becca got done so dirty, bro. Becca got done so fucking dirty, bro. That's fucked up. That's not how you treat people, bro. That's not how you treat people. Nah.
too late to like text you. And I remember hearing that, and that was when I knew that it was over, because I was like, you didn't think about it?
Ugh.
Yeah, so that just broke my heart. And I had to think about it every day, and I missed her.
I swear to God, if Becca gets back with Shannon, I'm going to shave my head. If Becca even becomes friends with Shannon, I'm going to shave my head in protest. Don't you dare let this woman back into your life, girl. Don't let this energy back into your life. May Shannon get therapy and be peaceful and meditate every day. I swear to God, I'll shave my head right on stream. I swear to God, okay?
Her so much, like so much. That was my best friend. But anyone's allowed to do like whatever they want. So like, and like that's when I got really into like the self-helpy stuff, and I was like, let them. Like if she doesn't want to, she just like ghosted me randomly. Like maybe that's her like coping mechanism of like she understands that our relationship is over, and maybe I just misunderstood, and I thought that, I don't know. I think I just got my hopes up, but I do wish that there was like a little bit more of a warning. I left like when I stayed at her house when she was in New York that night that I got robbed. And I thought she saved my life, like because she had called me at 3:12 and like the security footage showed the man coming in at 3:13 a.m. and she woke me up and told me to get out. And that was like us breaking no contact of 22 days of me being like confused. So I was like, oh my God, she's gonna want to like talk to me. She's gonna explain everything. Maybe like she had to go on like a detox and now she can come back and like we can fix everything. And or at least, I don't know, I just had like delusional hope. I just didn't think that this is, I don't know. I just like thought that, I don't know, delusion, whatever. Then she sent I had left a letter at her house when I say the night, and like I basically just said, for me to be this hurt makes me like happy that I was able to love someone this much. That's what I said in the letter. And then she sent my stuff in an Uber parcel, and that's where we stand. We haven't talked. We don't have communication. I will get to the one petty thing that I will say, but that's it. But I really want this to be like about myself, and like how I can tell this story and look back and like clearly see that like I was gaslighting myself, and like I wanted to make it work by bottling everything in. And in my next relationship, I now know that communication is everything, because if you communicating causes you to lose someone, that person was never yours. In the letter, this is the only petty thing I will say that I am, like if I was a songwriter, I'd probably make this a song. I wrote in my letter to her that I left before she sent my stuff in an Uber parcel. I'm glad I got to love you enough to be this sad. My ex obviously has been on tour this entire time, but she was doing like tour promo and like doing interviews about, I guess, giving breakup advice. And I got a DM from someone. Because I stopped looking at her social media. You guys, I swear, I've been so good.
Good for you.
I have been so good.
That's great.
I get a DM from someone saying, oh, look, breakup advice. Hope you can get something from this. And she said, my biggest advice is just to appreciate that you were able to love someone that much for it to hurt that bad.
I knew it. What a girl. Girl, you know, I'm not going to say it out loud, but you know what I'm thinking. I'm not going to say it out loud because we don't do that here on this channel. Okay, but that's some intense main character syndrome right there, girls. I'm not going to say it out loud because we don't diagnose people on this channel. That would be inappropriate. But like, girl.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that I wrote this line. I'm pretty sure this plays about me. And also, I will stand for ghosting, whatever, you can ghost me. I will stand for, I don't know, maybe the same argument that we had over and over again. I will not stand for plagiarism. That's where I draw the line. Look, I get it. You're a girl and she is a girl. And that's why I've kind of like kept my mouth shut this entire time. But I'm fucking done. I'm like, dude, if this were a man, I would have done a 10-part series by now of like, who the fuck did I marry? Obviously, all right, I guess I tried not to be bitter in this episode, whatever. You know what? There is still some bitterness. I think it's okay to be upset, whatever. I'm probably going to cut that out. You wanted me to write your interviews. I could have. Anyway, I'm sorry to my ex. I'm sorry. I think another theme was that like I felt like I was trying to be the perfect mixture of like everything she needed, and I just wanted to be like easy, like an easy girlfriend, like someone that like seamlessly fit into her life. And it kind of made me turn on myself and just start hating myself. And like that's something I've been like learning in therapy. It's like every time I would show up to therapy and I would be like, I am so frustrated. Like, why did my ex leave me? Like, why didn't she tell me that she didn't want to talk? And my therapist would say, are you mad at your ex or are you mad at yourself? And I kind of see now that I am just mad at myself. I'm mad at myself. I think I just wanted all of this to not be real. I didn't want to like lose her. She's my best friend. It's hard to lose a best friend.
Girl, if she says she's my best friend, I'm going to take a shot every time she says it. I cannot wait for her. Okay. I cannot wait for her to actually find her real best friend. Cause like, this is, oh,
Like losing things is how you grow though, you know? Like these past 2 months, you guys, I swear if you're going through a breakup, I'm so sorry, but like my life is done. It has been on like so much in my life has happened, and I've been able to accomplish so many like random things that I don't think I would have done because I just had a distraction of my girlfriend at the time. Like I was like hanging out with her all the time, and like just like I was in her world. Like I felt like an appendage in her world. Like I was always hanging out with her friends. Like I don't know, doing whatever she wanted to do, which is I had fun. I really loved my year with her, honestly. But I'm just saying, like now I'm like, this is all about me. Like everything's about like now my life is about me.
I think in all of our lives, I went through this stage where like you have a really bad breakup or really bad, you know, you get fired or something significant happens. Then you go into the self-help bubble. Don't stay there. It's poison. And then you realize, okay, this isn't the answer. I'm going to go to something that actually matters. Because self-help is just like, they hope you keep your problems so they can always keep selling you books, right? Self-help is temporary. It's a cope. Use it, but then get out. And then you move into actualization, self-awareness, introspection, self-acceptance, radical acceptance. You actually move into actually like Buddhist adjacent self-awareness, right? And I think it's like a part of the path. So like keep going. Don't end on self-help. It's this very stagnant bubble for a reason, but it's also can be helpful on the journey. We've all been there, but like hop out of it and get to the actual part where truthfully, when we are mad at like a lack of acceptance or a lack of like a lack of injustice, right? Like Becca was wronged, but she does not need to carry the burden of this for the rest of her life. I hope she heals. I hope she remembers it as a time in her life that she was able to gain wisdom from. I hope she learns to suffer wisely through this process. I hope Shannon finds her way into therapy and gets better. I hope she works on being less of a bad person, which is the only thing we all can do, is to work on being less bad. But the truth is like, this is like an earned stage, especially if in neurodivergent terms. Like I feel like neurodivergents were really good at seeing scripts and feeling like what could have been. We're really good at thinking about potential. We're really good at like, not, you know, sometimes it takes us a second to really process some stuff. So she might have a delayed reaction to this, but I feel like this is so the journey so many of us have been on. Becca is not alone. You are not alone. This is so typical for so many of us, and it only gets better from here because you get better.
And like I'm building a life for myself that I really like, and yeah, not everything's not perfect, and I'm still obviously like I still get sad sometimes. I'm not like completely healed, and I still
Very
like,
good self-awareness. We love it.
I think that like during those 22, that was like the hardest time. Was like you're just kind of expecting. I think in a breakup, like denial is like a bitch. Like I'm so sorry for going through that phase because just because we didn't have that closure of like her being like weird, whatever. Like I'm done talking to you randomly or whatever. I every day was like thinking that she was going to call me and fix everything. I signed up for something that I don't think I knew what I was getting into. And yeah, moving forward, I don't know about a public relationship again. Like, I don't know if this is something that I would be able to do.
Exactly. Don't do it. It's obnoxious. It's annoying. It's so unnecessary. You know, if you're dating another public figure, that's something else. But if you're not dating a public figure, like, you know, very rare reasons to make them part of the content and part of the scrutiny. And also, you know, it's no one's business. We're not entitled to the privacy. Like, we're not entitled to your healthcare. We're not entitled to your mental health. We're not entitled to anything. Like, as audience, as strangers, like even as me as a content creator, like we're not entitled to these things, you know? And it's so important to keep your peace, you know? I learned this after I had a public relationship. I realized like, oh, I don't want to share that with the world again. But I will say, like, you have those feelings. You feel like you owe it to your audience. You feel like you have to tell them when you broke up. You feel like even if you're on again and off again, you owe it to people. You feel like you can't just do your life alone because all these other strangers are in your relationship with you. And it's already hard enough having our friends and family in our relationships, let alone a bunch of strangers on the internet. You know, not recommended.
I mean, I say that now and like, whatever, you never know, but like I've never done that before. And now I see why it's not a good idea. But like, it's hard because I like to post like funny things of me. I don't know. It's just like, it's such a weird limbo to walk when like I love to post. Like, right. It just like seems unfair to not be able to share your relationship. But I don't think that I think that when two people.
I feel that sometimes. Can I be honest with you? Sometimes I genuinely want to share when cute moments happen. Sometimes cute moments will happen. I'm like, oh my God. And like, I don't know why I have this impulse to share with you guys, but then I remind myself like my relationship is offline. I have a private relationship, but I feel that. I feel her when she's like, something is going cute. You kind of want to share because I love adorable, authentic couple moments on the internet, not manufactured couples on the internet. They're exhausting to me. I don't like them, but I like seeing happy couples on the internet. I do like seeing people in love. I do like seeing healthy relationships. I do like seeing like real people having real moments. I think those are beautiful moments. Same thing with your kids. Like, just because your kid is being adorable and you will post it to the internet, let's not. Like, let's not. Even though I love cute family videos, I love babies. Like, I love those. They're so, yes, they're heartwarming. Exactly. It's so heartwarming. It's so cute. But you know, sometimes we don't got to post it. I know you want to. I know what it is. But I think when we make the decision not to do it, it ends up being like better in a lot of ways. But I can also see the need to have representation, how good it is to see happy gay couples or happy couples in general, to see people. I love seeing people in love. I love seeing healthy couples. There really is nothing like it, you know? You know, there's just like, yeah, I understand this impulse she has.
People in the relationship are both interpersonal relationship people that talk about their lives online. That's when it's probably, or I don't know. It wasn't going to work. I have to get this out because this is what I went through and I need you guys to know that like, if I can get through this, you guys can get through anything. Also, I do want to stand up for myself because I am mad at myself for falling on the sword for something that I didn't have any business. I didn't even know what I was doing. Like, and I don't know. I had to get this out. Like, had to. Okay. Sorry, you guys, my camera died, but I'm just saying like, that was my side of the story. Obviously, there's 300 sides to every story. I'm really, honestly, I hope you guys can understand that I did this for myself. I don't know. I guess I was just worried about being like an angry ex. But
No,
like
I did not get angry. I did not get bitter. I did not get petty. I got super authentic. I got super honest. I'm getting no negative vibes from her. I'm getting heartbroken. I'm getting genuine. I am not getting angry ex vibes at all.
grouped in with like, there's just like an online narrative of like this web of people that my ex has dated. And I guess I'm just another one of them.
Ugh.
Hey, I love this club that I'm in now, but I do want out of this story. Like, I don't want to be intertwined with this person online.
Ugh, girl. For the rest of your life. Let me tell you, for the rest of our lives, we'll be haunted by the collaborations we've made on the internet and the relationships we've been on because the internet does not let you forget. And let me tell you, it is the worst part. It is the worst part that no matter how much you've moved on, people will bring it up. And sometimes it will make sense to talk about it because that's the conundrum of being a content creator. How do we talk about our own lives without it being about other people's lives as well? Because it is her story. But she can never talk about her story without it obviously being about Shannon. Hate it, but it is a part of it. Ugh, double-edged sword, you know?
Anymore. Like, now that I've gotten this out of my body, I understand why all of this happened. I've learned from this and I'm ready to move the fuck on and get my life started. Because I think, you know, in the beginning I was like frustrated. I was like, dude, I think I would have figured out that I was into girls without having to have gone through this relationship. Not that it was like all bad, but like I was just kind of like, I wish I could do like the eternal sunshine thing. And obviously like I will.
Interesting. Multiple mentions of classic romantic films of toxic relationships. The Notebook, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Both very highly toxic, over romanticized relationships in heterosexual communities. Interesting. I love both those movies, but those are toxic couples, cheating, lying, very bad. Interesting.
Grow to.
By the way, do you know that's why I hated the L word growing up? I love the L word, but I hated it because everybody was cheating and lying and toxic. And I'm like, Jesus. No wonder. Like, I'm so frustrated with all of you. Stop cheating. But I love the L word. But also, I was so annoyed at how toxic everybody was all the time. I was like, can I just please have a wholesome story about gay people? Which I do watch all the B-rated gay films. So I get that sometimes. There are some good ones out there.
Appreciate and like learn from what because honestly, she did teach me a lot just about life. So like I did learn a lot. But like, I don't know. I feel like I was just so confident before. And I feel like I just had so much. I was so sure of myself. And for this to have happened, it's just like, it feels like a setback. And like, I don't know how I got so like lost for a year. And like, I lost my happiness and like I feel like my sparkle.
Ugh,
Like
it happens.
even like going back through my camera roll, I feel like I was so much happier a year and a half ago. And I just want to get back to that. And I obviously that has nothing, like it really isn't my ex's fault. It's my fault. And like I want to move on. If you can relate to any of the story, I'm so sorry. But
yes. Yeah.
I'm okay. Like I'm doing good. Like I really hope that you guys understand that like this doesn't, you're not going to be sad forever, you know? In the beginning I was like guilty every time I felt sad, but guilty every time I felt happy, but I've been doing good, better at least. So it gets better.
I like that she doesn't play up how good she's doing. I like that she's self-aware. Her therapist seems to be pretty good. She's talking about like, I'm not healed. I'm not there, but I'm doing better. Like, I believe her. She's not trying to be like, I'm good. I'm a queen shit. I don't need no man. I don't need no woman. She's not like, you know, I did that and I was not good, girls. Let me tell you, I was coping so much harder after like my bad breakups. So like, she's doing really good.
You guys, I just think that like, I didn't know what I had gotten myself into, and I don't think I understood the gravity of like the different, just because I just felt like she was just so much more established than me. I didn't understand what to do. I hope you guys understand that there's so much nuance and everything, and yeah, being a fan of someone isn't the same as dating them and whatever, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I have to go to a concert tonight. Goodbye.
Nice. Okay, bye. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Let's hear comment section. The way you continue to say I don't know after trying to explain yourself just shows how often you were invalidated and gaslit over how you felt. I feel this so hard. Let's just give up, quotation marks. And you need more relationship experience. After you trying to communicate something is crazy, you want to break up with me is insanely manipulative and weak. I'm a lesbian and your story is hopefully a huge wake-up call to the lesbian community. It's so common to blame bisexuals for the end of a WLW relationship. Biphobia is very real. If you're communicating causes you to lose someone, the person was never yours. Amen. Ghosting someone at 33 is insane and honestly just pathetic. Her threatening the relationship every time you bring it up something that bothers you is so bad. It's so sad. I'm sorry you went through this. So true. Truly shook at you can't keep bringing up stuff from the past with also I can't date someone who can't communicate. Literally what? Literally what? Okay. Oh yeah. Wow. Okay, good. I'm glad to see that she's got some support. This is Becca Moore. Wait, Becca's channel is only 22,000 subscribers. Why did I think she had a much bigger channel? Is there a second channel she has? I'm going to go ahead and link the channel so you guys can see. Why did I think she had another channel? My reputation error for the girls with Becca Moore. Okay, we love that. So that she has a new video out, which we love. Yeah, okay, good for her. She kills it on views, though. She's doing really good. Is she single now? Yes, she's single, girls. Give this girl time to heal, though, please. Don't be sliding into this girl's DMs while she's mid-traumatized. Let her heal. That's the other problem, is how many lesbians are going to slide and how many bisexual queer women are going to slide into those DMs like, I can save her. I can be the woman of her dreams. Oh, she's a TikToker. You're right. Hold on, let me see. Oh, she doesn't link her TikTok in her. Hold on, let me see. Let's check out her TikTok. That makes sense that she's a bigger TikToker. Go to site. Let's go look at her TikTok. Oh, 1 million followers on TikTok. Yeah, that's her domain, girl. Let me see.
Okay, I'm going to show you my makeup routine as someone who does literally everything wrong. So obviously this is not the color of my skin. Do I have other foundation? No.
Okay, cute. Let me see.
Okay, so when you tell someone that you're going through a breakup, they a lot of times accidentally say some unhelpful things to you. So here are going to be some accidentally unhelpful things that people have said to me. The thing I get probably the most is boys, they're terrible. And then when they find out it was a girl, they're like, it was a girl? Huh. Okay, I think I'm getting it. You seem sad. How long ago did you go through that breakup?
Interesting. Huh.
Hi. So someone broke into my house while I was home, so I moved.
Oh no.
But now I can tell the story. So I was home alone doing the dishes around 11 at night, and I hear my back door open and wind, and then it closed, and I immediately knew someone came in or opened and closed the door. So I put my head down, I was barefoot, and I just like started walking forwards to my front door, and I didn't look behind me. I just looked down because I didn't want to see whoever it was. So I walk around to the back of my house to see if the door was open, and the door was closed. So I'm like, oh, I think I was being crazy. I walk back around to go back inside, and I pass a man on a bike with a backpack, and he looks at me and he's like, good night. And I remember when he said that, I kind of got chills, but also I was just like, oh God, I'm barefoot and this guy's gonna think I'm crazy walking alone at 11 at night. Now I know. I'm like, ugh. So I go back into my house. My back door was locked. So then I was like, oh, I imagined that. And it must be a ghost that I heard. I was getting robbed. My cat's acting really weird. I take a bunch of melatonin, go to bed. I wake up at 3:12 a.m. to noises in the kitchen, and I look and Bear Bear is next to me, so I know it's not Bear Bear. So I'm like, I have to get out. I had packed myself a go bag in case the demon. I thought it was a demon. Thought it was a demon or a rat, or both. I was like, oh my god, the demon's like.
Is this, not to be autistic, is she being like funny? I know she's ADHD, so she's telling the story like a neurodivergent girly. Is she being funny? This is like not a serious someone broke into my house video. It's like a funny video. She's trying to be funny. What's happening? This is like very weird. This is very like, I don't know how to read the tone of this. She's being dead serious. She believes in demons. Does she literally think it was a ghost? Does she believe in ghosts?
Super active in my kitchen. I gotta go. I'm gonna put my head down. I walk down my stairs. I don't look up. I keep my head down. I walk out the door and I leave. In the morning, I was scared to go home and I posted this on my Instagram story.
Yeah, chat's right. Maybe she's just like coping, or it's like trauma.
I can't believe I thought it was a ghost. I thought it was a ghost or a raccoon. I go back in the morning and my back door is open. I don't know why I'm crying. It's just like,
okay, there it is.
Scared.
There it is. Okay, she was trying to like, you guys are right. I think she was trauma coping in the beginning, like, and now she's like, okay, actually feeling the feelings.
I need to talk about it again. My back door is open. Bear Bear's okay. He's just like sitting there, and so I do like find my devices, and my laptop is like 11 minutes away at some hotel. It says.
Oh my god.
So then I knew I got robbed, and then my brain like broke, and I didn't understand that I got robbed. But then I was with police, and then I don't know. We get camera footage, and here
oh my
is
god,
him breaking in the first time.
Oh my god,
an hour off because of daylight savings. That's the man on the bike. Here's him breaking in a second time at 3:13 a.m. It's the man that said goodnight to me on the sidewalk.
Jesus. Yo, he's not even wearing a mask. He's not even trying to be he's not even trying to hide it.
I don't know how long he stayed in my house, and I don't know if that's the only times that he's broken in. I'm so happy that I left and put my head down and didn't look around both times that I heard him in my house. But
oh my god,
I wish I listened to my intuition instead of taking melatonin and trying to go to bed.
Oh my god. Oh my god, the scare. I'm getting scared just thinking about it. Like, you've tricked yourself into thinking it's nothing, so you literally took a drug to sleep. Well, not that melatonin's, you know what I mean? Like, to sleep more. Oh my god. Girl.
I hate that I was in my house at the same time as him.
Ugh.
So we have the location of where my laptop was, but the police couldn't go without a warrant. And now I know that he took at least 2 laptops. Like, I had an old one, but I don't know what else he took because I haven't unboxed all of these boxes. And I don't know why he only took laptop. I spent a lot of time in shock, like, where I was like, I don't understand that this is real. And I don't understand why I'm the only unit that he broke into. But please don't say anything about a stalker, because I'm very scared, like, at night. So I can't handle that right now. Listen to your intuition, because I thought that there was a ghost in my house while I was getting robbed. So listen to your intuition, because it might not be a ghost. You might be getting robbed. Not to scare you, but it happened to me. I think.
She's so interesting on TikTok. She's so neurodivergent. Whoa. She's so much less neurodivergent coded on her podcast, huh? That's so interesting to me. She's so neurodivergent. Whoa. Like, I am shook to my core. Yeah, interesting. She's so different on TikTok. That's so interesting to me. Yeah. Huh.
I can't believe this is the universe that I'm living in right now. Like, so yeah. Hi.
Is she baked? She feels baked and ADHD. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you're right. She does seem, like, weirdly calm and relaxed about it. But a part of me is like, are you high? Because, like, I love weed. Like, are you high? She might just be baked. Because if I was baked and telling this story, maybe I'd sound like that too. But she sounds so Yeah, that's so interesting. Huh. Well, my heart goes out to her. I hope she's doing well. Thank you for sharing your breakup story with the internet. Thank you for asking me to cover this story. I wish her the best. I'm so glad she was able to move because that's really hard and it costs a lot of money. It's hard to find rentals, I'm happy that she was able to move so quickly. Do we have anything else to say about this live stream in general? Dating in queer circles, lesbians not dating bisexuals. How do we feel about the topic as a whole? Because that's all I have for you today, ladies. Chess says you should go through her last video. She explained what the bar incident that happened to her early in the relationship with Shannon was. I'm going to be real. I'm kind of good on that. I'm kind of good. My spoons are kind of at the end of the day thing. And I think we kind of covered what we needed to in regards to the topic today. If you guys want to subscribe to her, please do check out her channel. But do you guys have any questions, comments, any topic or anything that we didn't cover that we could have covered on this topic? Anything else to talk about? This was a fun stream. Thank you. I'm so glad you think so. Please like the stream before we end, guys. I'd appreciate it so much. It makes a difference. Share this on your favorite lesbian Reddit pages, share it on your queer Reddit pages. It is Friday, which is crazy to think about because I feel like this week went by way too fast. Sunday, April 6th, over on the Discord, we'll be playing Smash together. Very chill, very fun. No need to be good at the game. I'm certainly going to get my butt kicked, I'm sure. Maybe not. Maybe I've been practicing. Who knows? Okay. Let's see, finishing Crash Course Religions on April 6th as well after the gaming stream, last 3 episodes. Professionally paid yoga 30-minute class. We have the April 13th, Holy Mountain, Itero ski film. Going to talk about it through the levels philosophy. April 13th, April 20th, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Same thing through the levels philosophy. And Discord 101, April 27th. And then we start our watch party in May. Gonna do Arcane, gonna watch it, gonna dissect it. I hear it's gay, it's great, and I heard we have to watch it. So let's dissect it together as a community. We love to do these things. We love to dissect together all at once. Okay. Thank you for being here. Have a great weekend. Please like the stream. And wait, chat says, when do you think the line is between cheating when seeing other people while dating? You gotta talk about it. You gotta put down the boundaries together. It's not one size fits all. We each got to have this conversation with the people in our lives. Like, we have to be kind to people too. I think going in with good intentions matters. And if I'm going into a relationship with good intentions, I want to communicate with them the best I can to make it clear where I'm at. If I'm seeing other people, you want to be safe, with sex and STIs and all these other things. So I feel like cheating is about breaking a contract that you guys have agreed on. So cheating can't occur until we agree on something. But that doesn't mean you can't feel betrayed or let down or disappointed that somebody you're casually seeing that you maybe haven't negotiated with also ends up paying attention to somebody else and maybe doesn't seem as interested in you as you were in them, right? I feel like that's really the biggest thing in here, but I don't think you can cheat unless you've negotiated something. I think assuming you're on the same page as cheating is wrong. So many people cheat. So many people have different relationships of like, what's allowed in a relationship. So many people have different rules. I do not put it past people to have rules I've never heard of. I just learned today that people put their PJs under their pillows. I've never heard about that my whole life. So if there is something about the world I haven't considered, something about people's culture that I haven't considered, then I'm going to assume that extends to dating. All right. Let's listen to some Elvin on the way out. Great question to end the stream. And I'll talk to you guys again on Tuesday. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.